Chapter 26. For the next month, Garna's daily life is exercise, exercise, and exercise. High-intensity physical training and six-style learning are carried out in the morning, swordsmanship practice is carried out in the afternoon, and free time in the evening is used to develop the ability to wave fruit. After coming to Marineford, the many top-level talents and abilities copied, let Garner learn to master physical skills, swordsmanship, and fruit abilities, and his strength improved rapidly. Within a month, the master had initially completed all the 6 introductory moves, and the rapid progress made the 6 instructors who taught the 6 instructors amazed. And besides Garna, the only one who can match him is Kyuzan, who has a terrifying talent, and Tia is only the master's 5 of the 6 styles. The 3 of them took the lead all the way, making the others dumbfounded. Garp also valued them extraordinarily, beating them unilaterally and brutally every day, in the name of growing up in battle. In a severe beating, Garna's physical ability is also a terrifying improvement. The gravity on this huge island is different from the outside world. On the island, different areas also have different gravity. From the outside to the inside, the deeper the gravity, the greater the gravity inside, and the stronger the creatures living in it. And Garp's requirement for students is that when their physique can keep up, they should go deep into the gravity zone of the next layer, explore and exercise, until they conquer this zone and continue to enter the next layer. Garp divides the entire giant island into 10 regions. In the first month, Garna and Kyuzan have adapted to the outer gravity and have already explored the 5th gravity zone. Followed by Tia and Dalmizia in the 4th area, Flying Squirrels, Dogman, and others in the 3rd area, and the rest of the talents have just entered the 2nd area. Soon, the training camp ushered in the first assessment, divided into 10 groups, actual combat assessment, melee mode, winners up and losers down, until the first in each group is determined, simple and straightforward. La, I don't know if I can put you in a group. Kyuzan, who was standing next to Garna, said lazily. Better not. Garner squinted at him. To tell the truth, Garner really doesn't want to meet Kyuzan now. This man is the only student he can't see through in the training camp, Logia's capable person, who has not learned armament. Before Haki's people, they were really incomprehensible. The battle group is determined by Garp. There are a total of 60 students, 10 groups of 6 people, and Garner is divided into the 7th group. The members of the same group are Dalmizia, Dogman, Maynard, Belinda, Hilo. The 6 people in the same group were all students whose Deo strength exceeded 500 before entering the island. I don't know if it was specially arranged by Garp. Kyuzan and Tia were also separated into 2 groups. It seems that Garp does not want the 3 of them to meet for the time being. At this time, Garp showed up on the training ground with Bogart and the rest of the instructor. Okay, you are divided into groups. Now starting from the first group, whether it is a melee or a fight, I only need to see one person standing in the field in the end. Garp's voice was as loud as ever. The first group of battle began. The members of the first group included 2 female marines including Tia and 4 other students. There is no suspense in the battle, even if you don't use a sword, the others are not Tia's opponents. This month, Tia's training, Garna has been in the eyes, not losing to the man's courage and perseverance, extraordinary talent, so that her strength has been improving extremely fast. Probably it was due to the fact that she lost her strength to Kyuzan and Garner during the assessment, which made her unable to accept the stronger one. This month, she has been training hard and tried to overtake it. The remaining 5 students, placed in the headquarters or the Sahai branch, are considered outstanding, but unfortunately they are still far behind in the elite training camp. The battle continued, and soon reached the 7th group. Standing in the field, Dalmizia looked at Garna with high fighting spirit, although Dalmizia, Flying Squirrels, and Garner were already familiar with each other this month. But the familiarity is familiar, the competition is the competition, this time Dalmizia is ready to be ashamed. This month, he also did not idle and exercise frantically, and now his Deo power value must have exceeded 1000, even if he was not Garna's opponent, at least he would not lose as suddenly as the previous time. The previous Dalmizia was defeated by Garna, and the rest were also in the eyes. So when he came up, the other 5 people faintly surrounded Garna in the center, preparing to solve the strongest first, and the remaining people would come and separate. Win or lose. Shave Dalmzia first started, and her body suddenly accelerated, almost invisible to the naked eye, and instantly appeared in front of Garna. Iron Body Garner did not dodge, directly used Iron Body, received a straight fist facing him, and the explosive power of his tentacles, let him know that Dalmesia's Deo value had a great breakthrough compared to the last time. It's just that he has made greater progress. Slightly tilted his head, avoiding a finger pistol by Doberman, who also used a shave to come behind him. In this division, Dalmesia and Doberman have a good relationship, and they cooperate with each other without any gap in the battle. There is no need to communicate, a feint attack from the front and a sneak attack from the back. It's a pity that in front of Garna's sight, the stormy attacks were all overshadowed. With a handshake, Dalmesia was thrown out, and Doberman shook back with a backhand elbow. Looking up, a powerful vacuum slash has come before Belinda, the tempest kick kicked out by the only female seaman. At this time, she, who had passed moonwalk and tempest kick for the first time, stepped on the air and kicked a tempest kick to Garner underground. Without changing his face, he used the iron body with his right hand to directly crush the chopped kick. Shave also started to shave, avoiding the attack of the remaining two people, and instantly appeared behind Belinda, ignoring her panic-stricken face, and without mercy Xiang Ziu's blow to the leg, smashed her to the ground heavily. With a loud bang, Belinda hit the ground heavily, smashing a small hole in the training ground, spitting out a mouthful of blood, and losing combat effectiveness for a while. Tempest kick stepped on Garner, who was stuck in the air on moonwalk, and slashed directly to Maynard and Shiloh underground. Garner avoided the attack by the two before. Before he could react, Belinda was shot down from the air. As soon as I turned around, I saw two tempest kicks slashing towards them. Iron Body was too late to dodge, so I could only use Iron Body to defend in a hurry. As the elite of the students, both of them mastered 2 to 3 types and 6 types of skills. Shave Garna used to shave again, moving to Hilo's body in a mysterious manner. After the slash just now, Garna had already seen that Hilo's iron body was not very familiar, and it was relative to Maynard's strength. Still slightly worse. With the blow of finger pistol, a pillar of blood rushed out of Hilo's shoulder, staggering back. It was said that it was too late, and the 5 people did not make any contribution under the combined attack, but Garner seized the opportunity and fought back in an instant, wounding 2 people. Chapter 27. Dalmesia and Dogman were shocked, and rushed forward, ready to rescue Hilo. Tempest kick. Wolves, a 6-stroke extension technique, several vacuum slashes, jumping in the air, continuously slashing towards the opposite Doberman. Finger pistol. Balian. Dalmesia swiped his fingers at high speed, drawing hundreds of afterimages in the air and attacking Garna. The strong physical quality of Zoan ability allows Dalmesia to learn the 6 forms like a duck in water. Not only does he quickly master the essence of the 6 forms finger pistol, but also develops the 6 forms extended skills. Paper arts. Soft clay. Garna's body suddenly became like clay, changing its form at will, avoiding Dalmesia's attack behind him. Paper arts of this level. Dalmesia looked at Garner with his back facing him in surprise, and avoided all his attacks with this incredible move. Paper arts softening is very difficult to control. It is through special luck to soften one's body. If you want to achieve further fine operations, the difficulty is even more multiplied. After Dalmesia tried paper arts, he felt that he had almost no breakthrough in paper arts, but he did not expect that Garner had already practiced paper arts to this point. While dodging, Garna, who turned around, also attacked Dalmesia. Finger pistol. Bestian. The finger pistol in the 6th form is to use iron body to harden the index finger first, and then concentrate the body's power on the finger. The attack is issued. The hardened finger possesses bullet-like lethality and can easily penetrate the human body. And this is just the basic move of finger pistol. Since there can be finger pistol, can there be pistols, boxing guns, and foot guns? The finger pistol. Bestian used by Garna at this time is an extension skill developed. It hardens the entire fist with iron body, injects the power of the whole body into the fist, and strikes it out with the force of finger pistol. The powerful Bestian. For Dalmesia in the form of an orc, although ordinary finger pistol can injure him, it cannot make him lose his combat effectiveness in a short time. So Garna directly attacked with his fist, and with a super speed punch, Dalmesia couldn't dodge, a heavy blow hit the chest, and Dalmesia backed back again and again. Shave Garna chased away immediately. With a boom, I saw a puff of smoke and dust where Garna had stood before. Indeed, Maynard hit a heavy blow, but Garner avoided it with a shave and hit the empty space. Finger pistol. Hagui, this attack contains the power of the wave fruit in the 6 forms, the huge shaking power, through the fist, once again concentrated on the unstable Dalmesia. With 2 eyes suddenly, the dog boy was once again defeated by Garna's fist, fell down without any suspense, and lost his combat effectiveness. It is not an exaggeration to say that Garna's wave fruit, shock fruit's lower fruit, is not as powerful as Whitebeard's use, but it also ranks in the forefront of individual attack power. If you can't effectively defend against Garna's wave attack, pure physical defense is almost difficult to prevent the wave's damage to the internal organs. 3 were solved, and Maynard and Doberman remained. Shave Garner and Dogman used the shave at the same time, and the two figures fought fiercely in the air, and the fast flashing figure was almost invisible to the naked eye. The shave is very strong, and the movement and flashing are hard to detect, but the weakness is also obvious. Everyone's reaction speed is limited. In high-speed movement, they can only move in a straight line, and it is difficult to change directions in the air. It is a pity that Garna's reaction power is better than that of Doberman. The fierce battle lasted only 5 seconds. Doberman was thrown out by Garner with a punch from his high-speed movement and stepped onto the dog. In the footsteps of a young man. 4 of his comrades had fallen, and the remaining Maynard could hardly scream. Although he fought hard, he was quickly defeated under Garna's overwhelming tempest kick. The 7th group, the winner, Garner. With 1 enemy and 5, fighting purely with physical skills, the battle was resolved simply and neatly. This is the progress that Garner has made during this period of time. The super high talents and self-masochistic training copied from him make Garner feel the rapid progress of his own strength every day. And this battle is the best test of one's own strength. You know, his better swordsmanship and fruit abilities have not yet come into play. The medical team quickly stepped forward and carried the wounded down for treatment. Although the training camp was simple in appearance, the necessary facilities and personnel were still available. The fight continued, and the remaining personnel continued to fight under Garp's witness. The 8th group is the group assigned to flying squirrels. Although the remaining 5 people are strong, they are still not fighting with flying squirrels. After a bloody battle, flying squirrels struggled to win. When it was Kuzan's turn, Kuzan, who was a bit lazy by nature, had the advantages of Logia-capable people to the fullest. Students who didn't know armament haki couldn't attack his body at all and could only be passively beaten. One move was frozen, and the legs of the 5 people were frozen in an instant, and the cone of ice emerging from the air disintegrated their fighting spirit, and victory came more easily than Garna. Although he won, Kuzan ushered in Garp's iron fist of love, and he screamed at Kuzan. "A whole boy, how many times have you said that this is a physical test, relying on Logia's ability to bully people? Don't do it for me." Garp was furious. "I didn't say not to use the abilities, the fruit abilities I developed are also very good." Kuzan held his head and talked back. In exchange for another old punch from Garp. The next 3 Admiral can become the world's top power, and the fruit ability will naturally be developed to ultimate, but it can compete with other peak powers. Physical skills and haki are certainly not weak. It seems that Kuzan, who is young now, seems to rely on Logia's ability and has not worked hard on physical skills. I don't know if he will be influenced by Garp's fist of love and practice diligently. The 10-group competition soon ended. Garp announced that, except for the first place in each group, the rest of the team had doubled the amount of training that day, and there was no dinner. Suddenly weeping, Garp ignored them and conducted a separate special training for the 10 victorious. He taught a lot of the essence and extended theories of the higher level of the 6 forms, which benefited everyone a lot. Even arrogant like Kuzan, you have to admit that Garp's achievements in physical skills and 6 forms are beyond everyone's reach. After the guidance was completed, it was naturally actual combat. Even if 10 people rose up to resist, they still did not escape Garp's unilateral actual combat beating. Although it is true that as Garp said, the 6th form can only be the master quickly through one battle, but the fist that contains the armed color, hitting the body, it is indeed painful. Garp is really killing him. After a special training session, the 10 of them became the most injured people. Chapter 28. As soon as Tenten passed, Garna and the others were living in dire straits in the training camp. Marine Ford, Naval Headquarters. Marine's current Admiral Buddha Sengoku, former Admiral Zephyr and Head of Staff Tsuru are in the conference room, looking at the training-related information sent by the training camp. Pieces of paper recorded the information of all the personnel in this training camp. Name, Kuzan, 19 years old, born in the Principality of Helvali, Grand Line, recommended by Garp Vice Admiral, special enrollment, Logia Devil Fruit, frozen fruit capable, captain of the military rank. Talent S, Mind S, Strength S, Speed S, swordsmanship A+, physical skills S, devil fruit S+, observation haki no, armament haki no, no ship command in combat, S and potential. Name, Elmero Garner, age 14 years old, born in the Kingdom of North Blue Nopers, recommended by Colonel Connors of the North BLUE 107 branch, Paramecia Devil Fruit, a person with fluctuating fruit ability, enlisted for 2 years, military rank branch major. Talent S, mindness S, strength S, speed S, swordsmanship S, physical skills S, devil fruit A+, observation haki S, armament haki no, ship commanding operation S, potential S. Name, Tia, age 14 years old, born in the Principality of West Blue Ruos, recommended by Colonel Salucci of West BLUE 105 branch, captain of the rank branch. Talent S, mind S, strength A, speed S, swordsmanship S, physical skills S, devil fruit no, observation haki no, armament haki no, ship command operation A, potential S. Name, Dalmesia, age 15 years old, recommended by Vice Admiral Abraham, Zoan devil fruit, canine fruit ability, lieutenant junior grade. Talent A, mind A, strength A+, speed A, swordsmanship no, physical skills S, devil fruit A, observation haki no, armament haki no, ship commanding battle B, potential A. Name, Felix, 16 years old, born in the Principality of North Blue Basel, recommended by the North Blue 97 branch, captain of the rank branch. Talent A, mind S, strength A+, speed A, swordsmanship A+, physical skills A, devil fruit none, observation haki none, armament haki none, ship commanding operations A, potential A. Name, Maynard, age. Looking through the recruiting information one by one, Sengoku's face showed a relieved look. These potential seeds are the future of Marine. Not surprisingly, most people will become middle and high-ranking officers in various branches or headquarters, for the cause of justice. Make more contributions. There are indeed a lot of good seedlings in this group of students, and you usually need to worry about it. Sengoku took off his glasses, raised his head and said to the opposite Zephyr. It was my wish to train the next generation for Marine. This guy, Garp, was finally reliable this time. Kuzan, a Logia-capable person, was accepted under Marine's command. Zephyr rarely praised Garp. Kuzan has great potential, in time, maybe it will be another Sakazuki and Polo Salino. Although I don't like these two students very much, Zephyr recognizes their strength. The potential of Admiral level. From the beginning of the training camp, the name of the monster has spread throughout Marine Ford. In his eyes, Kuzan and Garner are well trained and are also seed level players. There are people who succeeded Marine, so the older Marines like Sengoku and Zephyr expressed their gratitude. This girl named Taya, a 14-year-old Jianhao, has extraordinary potential. I believe you have noticed it too. Zephyr turned his head and asked Crane Vice Admiral. Crane's subordinates are mostly female soldiers. Soldiers pay more attention. Nodded, Crane picked up the materials on the table. This group of students are of very good quality. When it comes to potential, Kuzan, Garna and Tia should be the heads. After training, at least they have the potential of Quasi-Admiral. Focus on. Unexpectedly, Crane had such a high valuation of the two other than Kuzan, and Sengoku was a little surprised. Is the wave fruit? Sengoku groaned. Wave fruit, the lower level fruit of shock fruit recorded in the devil fruit map, can issue wave attacks. In the record, although it is not as powerful as shock fruit, it can induce earthquakes and destroy the earth, but it is developed and it is also a very powerful one. Fruit. According to marine data records, the last time the fruit of waves appeared was 230 years ago. The last person with fruit ability at that time committed a heinous murder, slaughtered the creatures of several islands. To the law. Nodding, setting the tone of focusing on the three, Sengoku continued to discuss other matters with Crane. The new world has been in chaos recently. Golden Lion seems to be plotting something. The scumbags under him are running around and transferred Sakazuki and Polo Salino to the G1 branch to prevent the mad dogs from making any trouble. As the only admiral currently in office, unlike Garp, who is not doing business all day, Sengoku has to deal with a lot of military affairs every day. These potential students are enough to attract his attention, but they are only concerned. After all, before they grow up, the potential is it's just potential. Garner and the others, who are being watched by the top leaders of the department, have no time or energy to be happy or panic, because they are now facing further devil training by garp. Starting from the second month, garp increased their training volume, with a lot of daily physical training, 6 style training and swordsmanship training, and also joined the training of fighting beasts on the island. A group of 6 people travel between the mountains and forests every day, fighting life and death with all kinds of powerful rare birds and animals, wandering on the edge of life and death, to obtain breakthroughs in the limit. If you don't want to die in the hands of the pirates in the future, you must cherish every minute and every second now. If you sweat more during training, you will bleed less on the battlefield. Garp said. Everyone knew that what Garp was talking about was the truth, so they cherished this hard-won opportunity, gritted their teeth and persevered. As for the best players in training camps such as Q's and Garner, at Garp's request, they went solo into the jungle, looking for their opponents. At this time, Garner was heading to the 7th area alone, transporting his body to resist 7 times the gravity, and beating his flesh. The cigar dangling in his mouth lit up a lot of green smoke and floated into the sky. According to the experience taught by Bogart, the more beasts in this forest, the stronger, and some even awakened some peculiar talents. Hey! Garner, who was walking indifferently, turned his head to look to the right. Although he couldn't see it, the external scenes told him that something seemed to be coming. Boom, boom, boom. The mountain shook in the distance, and heavy footsteps came from a distance, accompanied by a huge roar. Chapter 29. Before the body arrived, the huge roar had arrived first with the sound of the wind. Looking up, the big trees along the way, as if they were run over by a road roller, fell to the ground one after another. Interesting. A smile crossed the corner of Garner's mouth. The huge creature finally came to Garner. It was a huge brown bear. Garner stood up to 20 meters tall and 3 meters tall. In front of it, he seemed to be a baby. Seeing this little bit of invading his own territory, the giant bear roared angrily, and swung a paw the size of a garna at him. Before the palm came, Garna's hair shook violently, which had already been blown by the palm wind. Fluctuating shield, Garna deliberately tried the recent fruit ability development results, and slapped the giant bear without dodge or dodge. The invisible defensive shield in the air shook for a while, stubbornly resisting this powerful blow of hundreds of tons, and the aftermath of the emitted shock collapsed Garna's standing position. Not bad, Garner grinned, completely not considering the consequences of being severely injured by the giant bear if the wave shield breaks. With a slap in the face, without patting the little dots in his eyes into fleshy mud, a trace of doubt appeared in the giant bear's eyes. Before it could understand, the same force bounced back from the wave shield outside Garna, and bounced its claws away. Roar! I didn't think about it if I didn't understand it. The giant bear was angered, and the manpower rose up, and the 2 giant claws slapped down again. After trying his current defense power, Garna is not in the mood to play with him anymore, and hasn't eaten yet in the morning. Shaving, a flash of body, Garna has appeared on top of the giant bear's head, raised his right fist, his right arm muscles bulged. Bang! Garna struck a heavy punch on the giant bear's head. Waves and ice broke out in his brain at the same time. The force of waves shattered his brain, and the ice force exploded. Below, directly frozen its entire head into ice. One-hit kill. The overlord who dominates the 7th level area is known to life by Garna without saying a word. A majestic life energy emerged from the giant bear and was absorbed by the mysterious little tree in Garna's mind, and the duplicated fruit hanging between the branches became clearer. Any organic creature can provide life energy for the growth of small trees. The larger the creature, the more sufficient energy it provides. Soon, a bonfire rose up in the open space. The bear paws more than 3 meters long were placed on the bonfire, rolled, turned into delicious food, and entered Garna's belly. The wave of fruit and wave of qigong have allowed Garna's body of life to increase day by day. And life energy is naturally not produced out of thin air, one word is eating. Eating any food that contains energy, coupled with Ripple qigong, quickly absorb and digest food, and then convert it into life energy in the body for storage. Therefore, since obtaining the fluctuation fruit, Garna's appetite has greatly increased, and pieces of bear meat will be crushed between chewing in his mouth, and then enter the abdomen. With the strength of the fluctuation fruit, it will quickly digest and absorb food through high-speed vibrations. In just an hour, 4 bear paws the size of Garna entered his stomach, but his stomach did not show any signs of bulging. Feeling the slightest bit of bear meat in his body transformed into energy, and the slightest bit of support for the mysterious little tree, Garna patted his stomach contentedly. Ah, the food is really full, the meat is really fragrant, take some back to Felix and the others. Garna lighted the cigarette and muttered to himself. It may be affected by gravity. The animals on this island have very tight skeletal muscles. In the eyes of foodies, they are very chewy, full of elasticity and excellent taste. Most of the ingredients for the training camp are made locally. After eating it once, Garna fell in love with these ingredients. In addition to the recent increase in food intake, during training, Garna would always pick up prey by himself, have a forest barbecue, and also increase his life energy while playing a toothpaste. Seeing that it was still early, Garna dropped the bare body he hadn't moved before, ready to pick it up when he came back, and continued to explore towards the 8th floor area. After walking for a while, suddenly felt his body sink, Garna realized that he had reached the 8th district. Thinking of Bogart's class, he warned them not to get close to the back 3 areas lightly. The entire island is divided into 10 regions according to gravity. The first 7 layers, each layer of gravity is twice as heavy as the previous layer, and starting from the 8th layer, the gravity multiplier increases sharply. The animals living in it have strength. It is also a sharp increase, and the animals on the first 7 floors can be easily slaughtered. And the 9th and 10th levels are farther inside, and one is more terrifying, and the creatures inside are still invincible for the current students. Today, when the overlord of the 7th floor died in the hands of Garna, he had the idea of exploring the 8th floor. Standing in the gravity zone on the 8th floor, as Bogart said, gravity increased sharply. According to Garna's estimation, the gravity at this time was at least 15 to 20 times that of normal gravity. With his physique, he also felt a bit of difficulty, which was only the periphery of the 8th district. The ability of the wave fruit is not used to offset the gravity, so it loses the meaning of exercise. Garner allowed the oppressive gravity to beat and oppress the flesh, and it was as powerful as garp, which could destroy the mountain by the flesh. It was also obtained through his day-to-day training. Now he has this kind of gravity similar to the Dragon Ball. Garna naturally knows how to cherish the room like an 8 island. In the outside world, there is no such opportunity to quickly temper the body. Withstanding the pressure, Garna walked into the depths of the forest step by step, while observation haki was fully opened, paying close attention to the surrounding movement. Bogart's warnings and abnormal gravity tell him that the strength of the animals living in this land is far from comparable outside, so he cannot be cautious. After walking for half an hour, we separated the dense jungle and came to a clearing. Looking from a distance, there was a spring water in the clearing, and a flaming fruit tree beside the spring attracted Garna's eyes. The fruit trees bear several semi-green and not red fruits, swaying in the wind, and the sun above the fruit trees is a peaceful scene. With a swish, a black shadow flashed past, hitting Garna's throat with a thunderous force. Dang! At the moment when it was close, Garna drew his sword to block the blow. Before entering this clearing area, Garna keenly discovered that if there had been no sound of insects and beasts' roars, they disappeared, indicating that there must be an overlord who scared them all in this area. So from the very beginning, Garna held his breath to guard against a possible sneak attack. After blocking the next blow, Garner could see what was attacking him. Chapter 30. It was a small grey-brown mink only half a meter long. Before he could take a closer look, the grey mink attacked again. Fast, unparalleled speed, the speed of the grey mink, even surpassing the speed of shaving, completely out of the visible range of the naked eye, dragging the afterimages in the air, and attacking Garna. Ding 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 ding. A series of metal clashing sounds came, and Garna swung his knife to seal all the attacks. The strong vibrating force from the knife told him that the humble grey mink in front of him was not only fast, but also not weaker than the giant bear before. The contrast of body shape made people caught off guard, and it was easy to hurt the grey mink. Under the claws. The 8th area, the first creature I encountered, was so tricky. Before figuring out the situation, Garna didn't rush to counterattack, but stopped the grey mink's attacks. After several fights, Grey Mink also seemed to realize that the creatures in front of him were not easy to provoke, so he stopped his attack and stared at Garna with a stern, deep roar in his mouth. At this time, Garna also discovered that the reason why the Grey Mink attacked him seemed to be the fruit tree by the spring. Seeing that Garna seemed to have the idea of approaching the tree, the Grey Mink attacked again. With a series of clashes, the two sides returned without success. Garna did not get close to the fruit tree, and the Grey Mink failed to injure Garna. It seems that this fruit tree is a treasure, or a treasure to this grey mink. Garner thought. Driven by curiosity, Garna wanted to get closer to the fruit tree to see what the treasure was. It's a pity that this grey mink of unknown breed is not only extremely fast, but also strong enough to attack. For a while, Garner will really be unable to break through its defense. Even if it breaks through the grey mink's defense, it is not easy to get the fruit under its attack. While fighting, Garner thought about countermeasures. Shave, start, avoiding the grey mink's claws again, and then slashing away with a knife, but it is flexibly evaded in the air. Turning around and rushing towards the fruit tree, the grey mink was really anxious, and chased after it quickly. When he came under the tree, the attack behind him also came. The wave shield was launched, resisting the damage. Garner took the opportunity to turn around, a sword aura broke through the sky, and slashed the grey mink. The grey mink was screamed and flew out. Although blood flashed, it was almost unharmed. Obviously, the sharp weapon could not cause much damage to its hard body. Squeak, an angry scream, revealing the mood of grey mink. It hadn't been attacked for a long time, his eyes became blood red, and the speed soared. The naked eye alone could not catch it at all. If it weren't for Garner's congenital awakening, he would have broken the line of defense long ago by changing other students. I don't know whether it was the long-term life in the environment of high gravity that created the steel and iron bones, or the magic of its own blood. The grey mink was invulnerable to a knife, and even one of the big sharp knives could not cut through its defense. Putting away the 3 days and the moon, the fruit power was activated, and the invisible fluctuation touched the grey mink's body, but was offset by a mysterious position, but the coldest freezing force in it slowed its speed. Let its figure appear from the air. Finger pistol. Madara, started to shave in an instant, flashed in front of the grey mink, and a finger pistol tapped its head in the mid-air. Since a sharp weapon cannot break the defense on the outside, let's see if we can disintegrate it from the inside. The invisible energy erupted from the fingertips, entered the grey mink's skull, and the smashed grey mink flew out heavily. Is it effective? Garner stopped his attack and looked at the direction where grey mink was falling. The grey mink received this blow, as if it hurt his head, and stood up from the grass swayingly, his eyes blurred, and it seemed that the injury was not light. Cut, Garner didn't take advantage of the victory, and cut with disdain, but took a few steps back cautiously. Grey Sable swayed in place for a while, seeing that Garner hadn't attacked, his eyes instantly cleared up, and he was no longer seriously injured. Good beast! Garner scolded with a smile. It turns out that the serious injury just now was an illusion created by a grey mink. It was received by Garner's finger pistol. Although finger pistol's strength penetrated into the brain, most of the strength was offset by the mysterious position in its body, although it was injured. To it did not cause much damage. On the contrary, this beast is ready to take the opportunity to pretend to be seriously injured, waiting for the opportunity to sneak attack Garner. However, the combination of natural knowledge and color combined with the power of acquired and fluctuating fruits, similar to the ability of Sky Island Enel's heart network, allows Garner to know everything about it, and he is not easily fooled. Seeing that Garner hadn't been fooled, Grey Sable raised his head, grinning angrily at him, rolling his eyes, but didn't know what he was making. This is obviously a wise creature, not a foolish creature with empty power as Garner thought before. For a time, neither of the two sides could help each other, and the situation of the battle was so anxious. Seeing that he couldn't take down this grey mink for a while, Garner looked at the obviously half-baked fruit. Seeing that Garner had withdrawn from his domain, the grey mink did not chase it out again. It was also very wise, that the big creature in front of him was one of the few creatures it had encountered that could fight a battle over the years. It is not necessary. It won't share the birth and death with him. He lowered his head and licked the wound that Sanryu had cut just now, and the grey mink slowly returned to the grass, disappearing. No other creatures were encountered along the way. Garner returned to the 7th floor, picked up the giant bear corpse he had dropped before, and returned to the training camp. After sending the giant bear carcass to the logistics office and letting the kitchen help to deal with the bear meat, Garner came to the playground again. This afternoon, it happened to be Garp's turn to class once every 3 days. Although Garp doesn't seem to be very reliable at ordinary times, he is really strong in his cultivation. The physical skills, the principle of the 6 types, are in Garp's hands, and they have been turned into an instinct in him. Every time his class, Garner can benefit a lot and realize many things that he didn't understand before. According to Garp, the 6 styles are actually divided into 4 levels. The Grandmaster 6 moves are only the most basic level. After the Grandmaster 6 moves, they thoroughly understand the 6 moves and create their own unique extended moves, which are intermediate levels. And all the 6 types of grandmasters are then integrated, and the 6 types are combined into one type. When the life return skills are developed, it is an advanced level of the 6 types. Beyond the return of life, there are more advanced areas. Garp didn't say, just let them not go too far, and start from the basics down to earth. Garner estimated that Garp should have reached the mysterious realm that few people have touched. As usual, everyone was taught the use of the 6 patterns, and after focusing on beating the top-ranked outstanding students, Garp let everyone practice by themselves. Chapter 31. Garp's teaching methods have always been simple and rude, first explaining, and then comprehending in actual combat. Ordinary students fight against each other. Cadets like Kuzan, Garna, etc., ordinary battles are not enough to make them understand, so Garp personally stepped down, kindly teaches, beats, the next generation of excellent Marines. After teaching, Garp sat next to him, smoking a cigar, watching the students practice. Garp Vice Admiral, Garner with a swollen nose, clutching his head, staggered to Garp's side and saluted. No, you know what I'm most annoying about. Why, did you kid just not fight hard enough? Is there anything you didn't understand? Garp waved his hand, thinking he was asking about the 6-style cultivation. It's not a matter of cultivation, it's something else I want to ask Garp Vice Admiral. Knowing Garp's temperament, Garner is not surprised, smilingly put down his hand, came to Garp and sat down, took Garp and placed it next to his coat. The cigar box on the upper side was not seen, so I pulled out one and lit it. Makanu DC, produced in the San Andres Valley, has a seamless color, taste, and appearance. Garp Vice Admiral will really enjoy the best cigars. Garner sighed and said with emotion. Originally, Garner thought Garp didn't smoke. The older Garp ate senbei every time he played. After I came to the headquarters and saw myself, I realized that Garp was actually a big smoker when he was middle-aged. Eating senbei is probably to quit smoking by eating snacks, right? Garner thought. Yehahaha, your kid is not very old, and you have a big addiction to cigarettes. You are thinking about my good cigarettes all day long. Don't think I don't know. Garp didn't care, laughed, and thumped Garner's shoulder. He bared his teeth and grinned. Garp's punches, even if they didn't use force, were not something ordinary people could withstand. Let's go, it's not a matter of cultivation, what do you want to ask? Did you fancy a girl in the training camp and came to me to get information? Garp winked, and said for the old disrespectful. Shaking his head and not joking with Garp, Garner explained the encounter in the forest in the morning, focusing on the battle with grey mink and the fruit tree that looked more magical. Garner felt that with Garp's strength and familiarity with the island, there should be no secrets on this island that he didn't know. Rather than being puzzled, it would be better to ask Garp directly. Oh, you're talking about dragon scale fruit? Garp said in surprise when he heard Garner's experience. He really knew. Unexpectedly, your kid has gone to the 8th floor. The dragon scale fruit is the fruit you saw today. According to your description, it should not be ripe yet. Garp said vaguely with his cigar in his mouth. Garp Vice Admiral, what kind of dragon scale fruit is this, what's the use? Garner asked curiously, looking at the grey mink desperately, what kind of treasure should it be? You should have heard Bogart say before, this island, after the 7th level gravity zone, the gravity of each level is not accessible to ordinary students. For the last 3 floors, the gravity of each layer is different, and the position and magnetic field also change immediately, so the animals and plants inside have some special abilities over the years. For example, the grey mink you encountered is invulnerable to swords and guns. It may be the special talent you got after upgrading in this environment. I don't know if it was intentional. Garp talked about it for a long time, just not to mention what Garner wanted to know most. Problem. Garner was not upset, smiling and squatting beside him with a cigarette in his mouth, waiting for Garp to finish. As for the dragon scale fruit, the effect is great. The mature dragon scale fruit, which looks like a dragon scale, can regenerate the body after taking it. Let me tell you more. Garp breathed out smoke and looked back at Garner with a smile. Enhancing the physique, Garner's heart moved after hearing this. In the world of pirates, physique is king. Whether it is kendo, physique, or fruit ability, it consumes a lot of physical strength. Without a strong physique, everything is a castle in the sky. For this kind of dragon scale fruit, Garner has already decided in his heart and is determined to get it. Haha, do you envy the powerful strength of the old man? Tell you that when I first joined the army 20 years ago, I also found dragon scale fruit on this island, but I found it on the 9th floor. There is also a plant on the 8th floor. Garp said nostalgic. Garna wondered, what, Garp Vice Admiral has also encountered dragon scale fruit? Was it the same grey mink who was guarding dragon scale fruit at the time? That's not true. We met during the graduation experience on the 9th floor. At that time, the guard was a giant crocodile. The same was invulnerable and powerful. Sengoku and I took a lot of effort to kill that giant crocodile. I didn't know what it was at the time, I was just curious, so I ate with Sengoku and discovered that I could exercise my body after eating. Later, Sengoku checked the literature and found out what it was called. Garp said, seeming to think of something. Fun things, not fun. See if this belt is made of the skin of that giant crocodile at the time. Garp pointed to the belt around his waist, showing off. Garna ignored the middle-aged man next to Dees, thinking in his heart the possibility of getting the dragon scale fruit in the presence of the grey mink. Why don't you let Garp help out? With his strength, grey mink probably won't be able to hold a punch. As if seeing Garna's thoughts, Garp waved his hand and said, don't make any difference, boy, that stuff is useless to me now. It's your chance to find the dragon scale fruit, but can you get it? It depends on your own ability. Standing up, patted the dust on his butt, picked up his coat, Garp left without looking back. Garp saw through his thoughts, and Garner didn't take it seriously. It seemed that he could only find a way by himself. Call Kuzan and Flying Squirrels together to take action? No, Kuzan's freezing power seems to be offset by the position inside the grey mink, and the Flying Squirrel's attack is estimated to be unbreakable. After thinking about it for a long time, I didn't think of a good way. I didn't think about it. I would try again tomorrow. If I couldn't break the defense, I was not strong enough. I just made this grey mink my whetstone. Without breaking it, how can you compete with the strong on the sea? For the next half-month, in addition to exercise every day, he went to the 8th area to fight the grey mink. Daily high-intensity training, systematic guidance, and powerful enemy battles have greatly improved Garna's strength. But in the battle with grey mink, although he had the upper hand, he still did not achieve a decisive victory. Chapter 32. Another half-month passed, and the assessment arrived as scheduled in the 2nd month after arriving at Gravity Island. This time the assessment is still the same as the last time, and they are then divided into 10 groups, and the winner is king. The remaining 10 people are in the top 10 and will receive individual guidance from Garp for the next month. Garner still won the group first without any dispute. In the following training, Garp didn't teach the 6 forms of profound meaning, but began to teach armament haki, which Garner has been coveting for a long time. Armament haki, it should be said that it is a high-level power in the pirate world. It is not very popular in the 4 seas and the first half of the Great Voyage, but it is not very popular in the second half of the Grand Line. Thieves, there is no one who doesn't know armament haki. It can be said that haki is the watershed between New World and Paradise. Armament haki, it can be said that everyone has this power, but not everyone can lead this power. Without the extraordinary talent and perseverance, it is not easy to learn haki. Armament haki is the power hidden in each of you. Learning armament haki can improve your defense and attack power. You can even grab the body of Logia demon fruit power and make them invisible. Garp the described armed prospects boosted the morale of the trainees who had never heard of haki in the training camp. It turns out that we can become strong without devil fruit. Some students were so excited that they subconsciously looked at Kuzan in the front row, as if they could beat Kuzan painfully after learning armament haki. Stirring everyone's emotions, Garp continued to shout, "Now I will teach you how to turn on haki. Close your eyes, and imagine that there is an invisible armor outside your body." Closing his eyes, meditating, and shielding all noise from the outside world, Garner entered deep meditation according to the technique taught by Garp. In the beginning, nothing was felt except for the heartbeat. Gradually, it seemed that he couldn't even feel the heartbeat. I imagined the outline of the body, gradually being surrounded by a layer of transparent armor. Gradually, in the deepest part of the body, there seemed to be a little black that slowly permeated out, gushing out from the heart in consciousness, and slowly flowing like a liquid to the right hand, and then little by little the outer armor of the right hand was stained with ink. Consciousness returned to his body in an instant, and Garna woke up in shock. He looked down and saw a few strands of black armament haki wrapped around his right hand. Armament haki, with the bonus of Garna Musashi's 9 crossing talents, he succeeded the master for the first time learning. Seeing the black haki wrapped around Garna's wrist, Garp was surprised. He thought it would be the more promising Kyuzen first to understand the armed color. He didn't expect Garner to understand the use of armed color in 2 hours. This talent also surprised him. Looking at haki in his hand, Garna was excited. Armament haki is the strength he has always wanted to gain. Unfortunately, if there is no corresponding training method, relying on groping, the difficulty is undoubtedly as high as the sky. As long as the master has the right training method, with his current talents comparable to monsters, all that is left is to continuously train and increase the intensity and number of armed colors. Seeing that everyone else was cultivating with closed eyes, Garna didn't get up and was still on the spot, quietly experiencing the new power in his body, trying to get acquainted more quickly. The sun gradually slanted to the west, and in the 3rd hour, Kyuzen also realized the armed color, and did not live up to Garp's expectations. Admiral level potential, learning this Garner is not unexpected. If he hadn't copied Zephyr's talent, it is estimated that whether he understands the armed color now is still between the two. In the 4th hour, Tia realized the use of armament haki. Garp was amazed by the girl's talent. He could understand the use of haki on the first day, and the talent can undoubtedly be classified as a monster. He and Sengoku and Zephyr, Sakazuki and Polisalino 2 years ago, all realized armament haki on the first day. Unexpectedly, 3 geniuses who did not lose their talents appeared at the same time this year. Then, until dark, the rest of the people woke up one after another, but no one realized armament haki. Garp was not disappointed either. It was beyond his expectation to discover 3 geniuses on the first day. Instructed the others to leave by themselves, leaving the 3 of Garna, ready to explain to them the use of armed S*X. Looking at Kyuzen with a reluctant look, Garp was angry from his heart, banged a heavy fist on Kyuzen's head, and shouted angrily, "Idiot, I thought you were finally a bit motivated just now, put away your laziness. Learning from Garna and Tia is more advanced than you." Ignoring the weird faces of Garna and Tia next to him, Garp went on to say, "You can learn to be armed on the first day. Your talent is beyond my expectation. It can be called a monster level. The most difficult thing about armed color is getting started. For you, the most difficult level has been passed. The next thing to focus on is to strengthen exercise and increase the intensity and quantity of armed color." Garp Vice Admiral, is there a difference in strength between armed colors? Tia asked curiously. Garp laughed and said, "Of course, the armed color of your master just now is just the most basic armed color. It can only be wrapped around your hands or feet to add a little defense and allow your attacks to touch Logia's body. That's it." Garna nodded. He who possessed the Prophet's aura naturally knew that the current armament haki was only an entry point, and the gap from Garp was simply a difference in the sky. And a higher level of armed color can cover the whole body, just like wearing an armed color armor. The strength and hardness are even higher, making the body as hard as steel, and the attack issued is even more piercing. Permeability, it can directly attack the inside of the object, and of course it consumes more. Garp continued. The 3rd stage is the high-level armament haki. The form of expression varies from person to person. It can make haki flow, attach it to a weapon, gather haki on the hand or release it on the weapon, and directly turn it into a shock wave. Or form an invisible iron wall outside the body for defense. Yes, Garp said affirmatively. As for what realm it is, you can understand for yourself. Everyone's different experiences will lead to different growth directions. Knowing the future too early will restrict your growth. It seems that Garp also possesses the highest level of armament haki. As expected, he is now at the pinnacle of this world in terms of strength. Chapter 33. On the 2nd and 3rd day, people such as Dalmesia, Flying Squirrels and others gradually realized armament haki. Later, there was a wave of people who realized armament haki, and some people still didn't realize that talent is a thing. If there is it, if there is not, there is no, so the cheat of Garna is really a heaven-defying change for him. Chance of life. For the next month, Garna worked hard every day, physique, fruit, haki, and swordsmanship. He tried his best to learn, understand, fight, and squeeze out every bit of his energy to achieve what he once was. Dream. Garna moved to the 8th level gravity zone for physical training. Seeing that he was strong enough to protect himself, Garp did not interfere too much. While exercising, Garner would challenge the grey mink every day, using it as his own whetstone. If the grey mink can speak, he must be MMP in his heart. Laozi has been in this forest for so many years. Since your kid came, he started playing regularly every day, which just made me feel like I was at work. In the battle with Garna, Grey Mink's strength has also improved by leaps and bounds, and both its speed, attack power, and resistance have made great progress compared to a month ago. If it weren't for the dragon scale fruit, the Grey Mink would have slipped away and won't win the fight. When the dragon scale fruit matures, after eating it, it will change to a nest, and the Grey Mink said cruelly. On this day, Garna arrived again as expected, and as soon as he approached, he found that most of the dragon scale fruit had turned purple with only a little bit of cyan color, and it was about to mature. Garna was overjoyed. After so long, he was finally able to harvest. The grey shadow flashed, and the Grey Mink appeared in anger. The wise it also knew that the dragon scale fruit was matured today. If it wants to get the fruit, it will definitely have a victory or defeat with this pesky guy today. After playing for so many days, we all know each other's roots, and if nothing else, it's just a word when it comes up, and it's done. Shave, Garner took the lead. Finger pistol. How Ghost hit the Grey Mink, but it did not defend it at all, knowing that this trick would not cause him any harm, instead waved its paws and grabbed Garna's neck, trying to kill him with one blow. With a chuckle, paper arts .1000 paper, Garna's neck suddenly leaned back in a miraculous manner, as if it was broken, and fell directly to the back, avoiding the blow of the Grey Mink. Squeak, even if I have seen this human manipulation of the body, but seeing such an unreasonable sight, Grey Mink still has a look of surprise in his eyes. Without waiting for it to regain its strength, a whip kick hit its waist heavily, kicking it flying. Crack, Garna's neck returned automatically and it was intact. Paper arts had trained him to a very deep level. His limbs and joints could be changed and moved at will to avoid injury, as if he had no bones. Tisk tisk, it is said that a wolf is a copper-headed iron-boned tofu waist. I didn't expect your puppy to be a copper-headed iron-boned diamond waist. Looking at the intact Grey Mink that was hit by a blow, Garner laughed and teased it. Laozi is a mink, Grey Mink showed a trace of human shame in his eyes, and did not call out. The speed increased by 1 section, and he continued to fight. Between the Sparks and Flints, one person and one Martin have fought hundreds of times. In order to avoid damaging the dragon scale fruit that is about to mature, they avoided the most central area. Even so, the aftermath of the battle destroyed the surrounding trees. A mess. One person, one sable, this battle lasted exceptionally long. From daybreak to dark, there was no such thing as the demeanor of the past. The dragon scale fruit is about to mature, and no one wants to give up. This battle is both high and decisive. Life and death. For several hours of fighting, even though Garna was physically strong, there was a trace of fatigue, and it was the same when looking at the Grey Mink. One sword flow. Jahi. Mountain fall, Sanryuezong approached in Garna's hand, swaying an incredible trajectory, and the stream of light burst from the knife and fell on the Grey Mink. Even under the influence of dozens of times of gravity, the Grey Mink, which is still lightning fast, seems to be suddenly carrying a few big mountains at the moment when these few streams of light are applied to the body, and its actions are slow in an instant. Yunshi took the opportunity to slash the Grey Mink's head with a heavy knife. Although his actions were slow and unable to avoid the oncoming knife, Grey Mink showed a trace of sarcasm in his eyes. Knowing that he was invulnerable, it made this useless trick. When Sanryu was about to cut the Grey Mink's head, a cunning look appeared in the eyes of one person and one mink at the same time. Armed. Weak break. Squeak. One person and one mink used force at the same time. At the moment Garner hit the Grey Mink, he released the big sharp knife and changed to boxing. The pure black armament haki covered his fist, and the terrifying penetrating power hit the Grey Mink's skull. Superior. It turns out that sword moves are a guy's, and this is his mortal blow. In the past month, every time he fought with Grey Mink, he only used physical skills and swordsmanship, and he never exposed armament haki. And just yesterday, his armed color finally improved. In addition to increasing attacks and defenses, he could finally issue penetrating attacks, ignoring defenses and positions, and directly attacking the inside of the object. From the very beginning, he was consciously making arrangements, and the early battle paralyzed his opponents just for this final blow. And in order to increase the killerness of this blow, he also deliberately delayed the time and waited until dark before issuing this blow. The Wave Fruit ability, Armament Haki, the power of the night, doubles his own attacks, and the three are one, and Garna believes that the Grey Mink will definitely not be able to hide. Facts have proved that Garna's calculation is very accurate, and the penetrating attack indeed shattered the grey mink's defense with one blow, giving it a fatal blow. But the only thing Garner missed was that he underestimated the grey mink's IQ. The moment he hit the grey mink, and when he was most unprepared, the grey mink opened his mouth, and a white light beam spouted from its mouth, instantly hitting Garner's heart. It turns out that one person and one mink are calculating each other, and the grey mink's breath has never been used in the previous battle. It seems that they were also using the same idea and were preparing for a sneak attack. When Garner was hit by a mountain fall, the grey mink pretended to be able to dodge Garner's blow, and when Garner was approaching, he breathed out and prepared to be thorough. Solve this nasty human. A close battle ended in both losses. The grey mink received a heavy blow, his body shook, blood was flowing from his mouth and nose, and he fell completely motionless. The joy in his eyes had not had time to fade. And Garner was hit by a heart-piercing blow and fell to his knees. After a while, Garner's body moved. Hey, to be careless, I almost died in the hands of a beast. As expected, I can't relax my vigilance at any time. Garner sat down slowly. Chapter 34. In the face of a sudden blow just now, Garner didn't actually react, but his antelope speed talent saved him. When fighting, he can increase his body speed by himself. When an attack comes, his body is instinctive. The reaction caused the body to dodge subconsciously, avoiding the heart attack. Almost, really only a little bit, I'm going to hang up. This should be the most exciting battle he experienced when he crossed over, but the opponent was a dog, or a mink. Forget it, it's the same. Fortunately, the final winner is him. As long as it is not a critical point, his physical injury will quickly recover. However, this puppy's attack is quite powerful, his body is completely defenseless in front of this move, and I don't know if the armed color can stop it. As I thought about it, I walked under the dragon scale fruit tree. The pure purple dragon scale fruit showed that it had all matured, and the grains became scaly, no wonder they were called dragon scale fruit. Garp told Garner that when the dragon scale fruit is mature, it should be eaten within an hour after it is removed. Otherwise, there will be no effect of refining, and each person can only eat up to 7 according to the tolerance. It's useless. Counting, there are a total of 14 dragon scale fruits on the tree. I took one off, wiped it, and threw it directly into my mouth. It was sweet and delicious. After a while, the effect of the dragon scale fruit was revealed, and a sharp pain came from the body. Poisonous. Garner looked dumbfounded. It's not poison. The intense pain that seems to be torn from the depths of genes hits Garner's brain nerves, as if to beat Garner's body on iron felt in an instant, punching out the extra magazines. The hurting Garner almost couldn't help screaming out. The intense pain lasted for about 10 minutes before Garner, who was sweating profusely, got out of it, and found that there were a lot of stains on his body. Should it be genetic debris? Feeling the energy and strength of Ultimate in his body, Garner felt that the pain was not in vain. Thinking of Garp, he kept doing nothing, and Garner picked 6 more fruits and ate them. The pain and torment that lasted for an hour caused Garner's body to undergo a completely reborn change. The strength has increased by at least 3 times, and there seems to be a body force in the body that has been slowly but firmly transforming the structure of the flesh, making the bones harder, the flesh tighter, and the resistance to fight stronger. The penetrating wound he had suffered before was completely healed under the physical modification. Looking at the remaining fruit, Garner thought about what to do with it. According to Garp, the dragon scale fruit can only be eaten 7, and eating it again has no effect. Garner glanced sideways at the place where the grey mink was lying down. Just now, after seeing and hearing the color, he seemed to see it move. Curiously walked over, and looked closely, the grey mink's vitality was indeed strong, and it was severely injured and dying after being hit by the piercing skull, leaving a breath of breath. With godless eyes open, he looked at Garner. No matter, it is because of me that made you like this after all, the fruit was originally discovered by you first. Since the grey mink is not dead, Garner is ready to save his life. Speaking of which, the grey mink is also innocent. It was Garner who coveted the dragon scale fruit and injured it. Picking off the remaining dragon scale fruit, in the grey mink's puzzled eyes, stuffed one into its mouth. Seeing it relieved the pain that Garner felt before, Garner was inexplicably happy. I lit the cigarette and stuffed the fruit one by one to the grey mink, watching it recover little by little. Before it could recover well, Garner got up and slipped away, fearing that the grey mink would go to him to fight. In the darkness, Garner returned to the training camp. At the gate of the training camp, He happened to ran into Garp, who was smoking. When he saw Garner, Garp beckoned and summoned him. "Your kid is not in the training camp so late, where did you go, et?" When Garner approached, Garp's expression condensed, and he keenly noticed the changes in his body, not to mention just a punch. With a bang, if he defeated Ge, Garner didn't avoid it, he just took Garp's punch alive, and his body muscles were able to resist the blow. "Haha, yes, Garner, you can resist my 30% punch, and your physical strength has greatly increased. It seems that you have successfully obtained the dragon scale fruit." Garp nodded approvingly. "Yes, I would like to thank Garp Vice Admiral for your guidance." Garner nodded and said, "The dragon scale fruit has just been eaten, and there is still a lot of effectiveness that has not been played. The physical and strength have improved visible to the naked eye, Garp, the words are true." Without Garp's careful guidance, he would not have realized the penetrating attack of the armed colors so quickly, and today he may not be able to defeat the Greyhound. "So thank you, Garp, for your advice. It's not wrong. It's your own chance, just like my chance with Sengoku." Garp waved his hand and said nothing. Seeing Garna's departure, Garp suddenly had a seed, and he couldn't tell which one of the stronger ideas was between him and Kyuzan. Before, he was indeed more optimistic about owning Logia Devil Fruit, and his talent was also the best Kyuzan. But in the past few months, I saw Garna. Although Devil Fruit is not as good as Logia, it is also a powerful fruit. It has excellent talent, fruit ability, physical skills, and Haki is like Grandmaster, good swordsmanship, no shortcomings, and even more rare. The thing is, with perseverance, he seems to see the shadow of Sengoku when he was young. On the other hand, Kyuzan, most of his energy is still on fruit development, and the practice of other physical skills Haki is slightly inferior. Although he is still outstanding compared to others, he is still inferior to Garner in terms of hard work. As time went on, Garp became more and more appreciative of Garner, a talented and hard-working kid. Just a week later, one day Garp suddenly called Kyuzan, Garna, and Tia. Garp looked at the three of them for a while, and said, "It's been almost 3 months since I came to the training camp. Among these academies, the three of you have the highest talents, the strongest, and the ordinary completion assessment. With your strength, it is very easy. Can be reached. Ordinary exercise is probably not very helpful to you, so I decided to arrange your 3 teams to go to the 8th gravity zone and the 9th gravity zone to exercise. With the strength of the 3 of you, be careful. What's the danger? The 9th zone. Since eating the dragon scale fruit, Garna has been proficient in his own soaring power. He has not returned to the 8th zone. Unexpectedly, Garp intends to let them explore a broader and more expansive area this time. Dangerous 9th zone. Garp said not very responsibly, the rules of the last 3 levels of this area are different from the previous ones, and the environment is completely different. There are also some rare treasures that are very helpful to your current practice. You can find them when you are training. Look, it's up to your luck if you can meet it." Chapter 35. Treasure. Garna subconsciously glanced at the other 2, is it the same treasure as the dragon scale fruit? Garna was moved. According to their strength, as long as the strength of the monster here is not outrageous, even if they can't beat it, it should still be possible to run. At the end, Garp specifically told them not to go to the 10th floor lightly. There seems to be something terrifying in it. In this way, the strongest trio in the training camp teamed up and went to the 9th floor of the gravity zone to clean up the monsters. All the way to the 8th floor smoothly, Kyuzan and Tia seemed to have been there before, and the sudden change of gravity did not affect them. When he got here, Garna naturally thought of the grey mink, and he didn't know if he had saved it last time. If he died, it would be a pity for the dragon scale fruit. Among the 3, Kyuzan is the oldest but the most lazy personality and doesn't care about anything. Tia has a cold personality, and she usually treats people with a polite manner, except for the sword, she doesn't seem to be interested in anything. But Garna was the most active of the 3, talking and laughing with the other 2 along the way, smoking a cigarette, and came to the 9th district like a tourist. When I arrived at the 9th zone, it was found that gravity had changed again. It was no longer doubled as in the 8th zone, but became erratic. The gravity in this area may be 10 times that of ordinary gravity, and it may suddenly become 50 times as long as it is walking. If a physically weak person comes here, the unpredictable gravity alone can cause internal injuries to vomit blood. Together, the 3 of them wandered in the forest with 1 foot deep and 1 shallow, exercising their control over the physical body by the way. Garner suddenly thought that gravity is also a kind of fluctuation. Can you simulate this kind of position around the body, so that anyone who fought him close to him, as soon as he approaches, is trapped in the force field, and faces sudden changes? The measured gravity field will inevitably be out of control, and in this home field, Garner will have an absolute advantage. Subconsciously, Garner controlled the power of fluctuations in his body and began to imitate the surrounding fluctuations. The fluctuations were difficult to control at first. Gradually, the superhuman spiritual power made him control more and more handy. The chaotic and directionless fluctuating position, centered on him, radiated to the surroundings. Tia, who also has a swordsmanship, immediately noticed the anomaly around Garner, gave him a surprised look, felt it, and suddenly realized that she admired him deeply. Near noon, the three of them searched for a long time on the edge of the 9th floor area. They did not find the chance in Garp's mouth, and did not care. Just when passing by the 8th floor, they hit a giant bison, which was 10 meters tall and nearly 5 meters high. Enough for 3 people to have a full meal. Looking at Tia with an innocent face and Kyuzan with a dumb face, Garner knew that he was going to be a coolie again. Fortunately, as a professional foodie, cooking in the wild is a compulsory course. Kyuzan was arranged to clean up the firewood and Tia to find some water. After a while, the whole cow, which was washed and peeled, was put on the shelf, ready to be roasted. Don't be afraid of no fire, just walk away with crimson ripples and light a bonfire at high temperature. Your fruit abilities are very strange. It can produce freezing power and high temperature power. Is it a special superhuman devil fruit? Garner, who can give birth to flames out of thin air, has infinite curiosity. Although Tia didn't speak from the side, her curious eyes still showed the same questions as Kyuzan. Paramecia. Fruit of waves. After getting acquainted with it, Garner didn't even deliberately conceal his fruit. It seems that there is no connection between your name and your abilities. Tia asked suspiciously next to her. Kyuzan nodded in agreement. Garner's abilities are beyond the scope of the general Paramecia devil fruit. You don't know anything about this world. Garner pulled a word very pretentiously, ignoring the dissatisfaction in the eyes of the two, and focused on dealing with the roasting cow. Seeing that Garner didn't want to say more, the two knew that they could not listen to other people's secrets too much, so they didn't ask more questions tacitly, and focused on being spectators. Come out, have followed all the way, aren't you tired? Garner said suddenly. Who? Kyuzan and Tia were taken aback, stood up, and watched their surroundings. It was quiet all around, except for the sound of the wind, and there was no one. Tia turned her head and glanced at Garner in confusion. Did she hear her wrong? Garner continued to spin the roast beef without looking back. I don't know what you want to do with you. If you want to fight, I will fight with you after I finish eating. If you don't fight, you can go. It's not your style to hide your head and show your tail, puppy. Tia and Kyuzan had question marks. Is it a dog following us? The 9th layer of strange beasts? When to keep up with us? The voice fell, and finally there was movement, and a figure slowly appeared on the treetop not far away. It was a figure that faintly emerged from the empty air. The whole body was lavender with a bunch of white hair on the chest. It was a mink, about half a meter long, the size of a domestic cat, and slender limbs. Hey? Brother dog, have you changed your hair? Garner looked up at Sable, surprised, and didn't notice the disgusting eyes of Kyuzan and Tia next to him. Where do you tell that this is a dog? Your dog can climb trees? The two of them complained inwardly. Depending on the situation, this mink met Garner before. Lei Miao was the grey mink who had previously robbed Garner with dragon scales, and was dying of injuries, and was later saved by Garner with dragon scales. It seems that eating dragon scale fruit not only saved its name, but also allowed it to evolve successfully, and even the color of its fur was changed. The two people who didn't know the cause and effect thought that the sable was a strange beast that Garner had met in the forest before, but they didn't know that one and the other almost died together. Why, you have been behind us since the 8th district, are you trying to get revenge on me? Sable looked at Garner under the tree with a somewhat complicated expression, and gently jumped off the treetop, and came to Garner. The man stood up and waved his fists with both hands. The mink tribe has gratitude and revenge. Although this human was seriously injured with him before, he was fed with dragon scale fruit later, which saved his life and allowed him to further evolve successfully. This kindness is still to be remembered. In the pure thinking of animals, hatred means hatred, and grace means grace. Although this human being is still damn it is a fact that it is saved. Ha, are you here to thank me? Garner understood what Sable wanted to express. No, after all, I was the one who preempted you. It's a tie. Seeing the end of the thanks, he sat next to him, staring at the roasting Sable. Garner laughed. Would you like some beef? My craftsmanship is great. Chapter 36. Since you, a human, have invited, I can hardly give it a try. Sable's eyes revealed the above. Ha 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 ha. Garner felt that this dog brother was more interesting. After a while, the beef was roasted, and the white heat rose into the sky, and the air was filled with a strong aroma of roast beef. It smells so good. Tia whispered, unable to hold back her saliva. Obviously it is roasted whole cows made in a hurry in the wild. The ingredients and spices are also taken from Garna in the forest. However, the aroma of roasted whole cows is so appetizing. The whole bison, now the skin was roasted and steaming, and the oily brown-red skin, there was a drop of oil, dripping on the campfire, making a sizzling sound and exuding a seductive aroma. Even Kuzan, who has never paid much attention to food, swallowed subconsciously. Ah la la la, this cow looks very good. As for the Sable, I have forgotten the dignity of the mink clan for a long time, staring at the roasted cow and spitting. Okay, divide the cow. Garner gave an order, took Tia's slack dagger, took the giant roasted cow a few meters long with one hand, the knife flashed, and cut the tenderest and softest part. Next, handed it to Tia. Then cut off a leg of the cow and handed it to Kuzan. Regardless of the hotness, everyone feasted. Oh, as for the Sable, Garna enthusiastically drew a bovine bone to it. Seeing Sable's dull eyes and Tia's surprised eyes, Garner greeted Sable with enthusiasm. Come on, brother dog, the best beef bones are definitely in your taste. Try it. Sable could not wait to put a paw on his face. If he could talk, he would definitely curse Garna bloody. Tia looked surprised and funny, not caring about the food, and said to Garner, funny, this seems to be an Anglo Sable, although it is larger than a normal Sable. Why do you think it is? Is it a dog? Isn't it a dog? Garner seemed to be surprised by Bisha. Which one of your eyes saw it looked like a dog? Tia couldn't help but turn over Byakugan. Angel Sable, I'm pretty sure, the food is diverse, the staple food is fish, and it also eats meat, but the bones don't seem to be in its recipe. Looking down at Sable's angry eyes, Garner was a little embarrassed. Haha, what, dog? No, brother Diao, let's change it if we don't like the bones, and eat a cow's hind legs. Garner cut off the cow's leg and threw it to the Sable again. Judging from the fact that the beef is so fragrant, Sable decided not to have the same knowledge as this stupid human being, and started to eat the beef legs. It is so fragrant, is human food so delicious? Tia and Sables have average appetite, Kuzan is in the normal range, a huge roasted whole cow, most of which was eaten by Garna alone. After eating, there was no ups and downs in their stomachs, making the two of them stunned. As if there are different spaces connected to Garna's belly, I can only feel the wonder of the world. After eating, the 3 people and 1 Sable set foot on the trip again. Yes, 3 people and 1 Sable. I was going to wait for the opportunity to thank Garna's Sable for saving his life. After eating his roasted whole cow, I can't remember to leave. Now, I'm going to mix up 2 more meals. There is no dignity of the Angelou clan. Seeing the Sable licking his face and following, Garner didn't take it seriously. As a girl, Tia had no resistance to such furry little animals. Kuzan ignored his opinions, so Sable naturally became a member of this team. The 4th member. It is a pity that this forest is too big, the environment of the 9th area is complicated, and the exploration progress of the team is very slow. Until it got dark, there was no clue, so I went back to the house. Before going back, as usual, a wild animal was beaten, cooked by Chef Ka, and everyone had a beautiful meal. After half a day of getting along, the 3 and Sable have become acquainted with each other. When the 8th floor parting, Tia and Sable bid farewell to each other. They agreed to meet here tomorrow and continue to explore the 9th district. The wise Sable's Hizzy agreed to see author, and agreed. Back at the camp, the 3 met with Garp first and reported on the next day's itinerary. Unfortunately, Garp just didn't want to tell them what the chance was, and let them find it by themselves. In the next few dozen days, the team completely left the training camp. Except for Bogart's swordsmanship, the other courses were all free practice, and they would explore the 9th area in their free time. Every day, the sable waited in the 8th area on time, eating and drinking with the 3 of them. After a few days, the food was shiny and faintly fat. After getting along, it may be due to the similar age and the hidden food-eating attributes. Tia gradually took off guard against Garna, and the relationship with Garna became more intimate, and there was no previous restraint in getting along with it. Since Kyuzan is 5 years older than them, he usually gets along with him and looks more like an older brother. Although this older brother is lazy all day, he basically can't lift up energy except when he eats. Since eating Garna's craftsmanship, Kyuzan and Tia have never eaten in the training camp canteen again, and they are all conquered by his craftsmanship. Tia even joked that Garna's culinary talent is higher than that of Kendo. If one day he retires, he can consider opening a food city in his headquarters. Garner smiled and agreed. After nearly 3 months of recovery, the mysterious little tree in Garna's mind once again produced a copy of the fruit. Garna used this fruit to replicate the special talent of Tia's sword Red Snow left character. Knife intent, it can inspire the killing intent on the body, the heavier the killing intent, the stronger the attack power, from the left text of Lyanku Ideo Hunksyu. In fact, he was even more greedy for the talented ability of Tia's resurrection. Resurrection of heaven and man, racial talent, in the case of dying, burning the blood of heaven and man can completely restore one's own injuries and physical stamina, and at the same time greatly increase the combat effectiveness. If you copy this ability, it is equivalent to 1 more life. Unfortunately, it is a racial ability, which cannot be copied, and Garner can only give up regrettably. For the rest of Zhu Shao's definition and insight, Garner didn't need it, and the mirage was not compatible with his own swordsmanship, so only the special talent of Hunksyu left writing was left. Don't look at Garner, who is only 14 years old. He usually looks kind. In fact, this guy is so murderous that he once shocked the former Chief Bell. The pirate who died in his hands, conservatively estimated that there are thousands of them, murderous. The Wait is also a leader in the entire training camp. With the newly copied talent, it is a perfect match, and the attacking technique can at least increase his lethality by 10 to 20%. Garna, what shall we eat today? Looking at Tia, who was looking at her with very clear eyes, she felt more and more that she had a tendency to become a foodie. I will eat fish soup later. The Wang Qing Chuan I found yesterday contains large freshwater fish. I will ask Kyuzan to catch a few. Anglo and I will go to the place where we found the deer yesterday and catch 2 deer. Make a fish soup at noon today, with smooth fish balls and venison with mushrooms. Chapter 37. Angelo is Tia's new name for the sable, calling it directly by the race name, which is a bit random, but compared to the dog brother Garner called it before, it is already very satisfied. Garner felt that since teaming up with Tia, he became more and more like a cook. Although I like to eat before, but if you are in the wild, you just want to eat whatever you like. It's like now, to go out for training, in response to Tia's strong request, but also to carry a few pots with Kyuzan. Recently, every time Dalmezia and Flying Squirrels go out to camp, they look strange in their eyes, as if they were trained for Garner didn't know what to say with the envious eyes as if he ran out to camp. This virgin forest has a pleasant climate and a special environment. Whether it is in water or on land, most of the creatures are huge, and with abundant supplies, a few people can easily capture enough for daily diet. Smooth fish balls, grilled fish, fresh and delicious milky white soup, and Angro comfortably hums after eating it. Now it has safely lost the wild nature of wild animals more than 10 years ago. In addition to eating and eating all day, Tia also I like it very much, and feed it vigorously. Garner suspects that if he continues to feed it like this, it is estimated that it will be fat to a ball. Fresh venison is paired with mushrooms picked from the forest, and the simple ingredients are burnt out by Garner. The swordsmanship of the swordsman level was fully demonstrated by Garna. A large piece of venison was cut into slices of the same size and thickness, sprinkled with peppers, mushrooms, ginger and other ingredients, and simply cooked and fried, but the deer was completely cooked. The aroma of meat and the fragrance of mushrooms perfectly blend. After a bite, with a slight chewiness, I swallowed it in a few mouthfuls, without the sensation of stuffing my teeth at all. Spicy and delicious, delicious. Tia, who prefers spicy food, almost swallowed her tongue. Ah la la, spicy and mellow, it is indeed delicious in the world. Kyuzan did not hesitate to praise, and said vaguely, his hands were indeed fast. A group of people scrambled for me and quickly wiped out the food. Ah, it's so delicious, Garna, were you a cook before? Why are the dishes so delicious? Tia said with her chubby belly, without the coldness before. The appearance of a female marine. Squeak, the same round creature uttered in agreement. Ah la la, every day brings different surprises, Garner. Kyuzan, who didn't know where he took out a bottle of wine and sipped it, agreed with a smile. Looking at a few foodies, Garna said helplessly, well, Garp Vice Admiral asked us to come out, but it wasn't for us to go out camping, rest and continue searching. That's natural. Kyuzan and Tia nodded solemnly. Although Garner is not old, he has always had a right mind. On the contrary, Kyuzan never likes to use his brain, and Garner arranges his usual actions. After nearly half a month of searching, they searched most of the 9th area. Except for the unusual gravity, no other things similar to dragon scale fruit were found. Garner and the others thought Garp was just talking casually. In fact, it's just for them to come over and exercise. The trio and a beast began to search aimlessly again, and would go to see wherever they thought they could. Staggering all the way, Garna looked back at the lazy Angru, always feeling that this guy's temperament was getting closer and closer to Kyuzan. Is he assimilated by Kyuzan's personality charm? He kicked it angrily and said, Hey, Angelou, didn't you mean that your nose is very sensitive? Can you ask how many kilometers away you can get the taste of TNK Daibao? You recently ate ours and drank ours. Is it going to do something? Squeak Angru screamed disdainfully, I am a mink, what do you think it is? I found the dragon scale fruit before, okay? No, uncle, I still have to play a role, otherwise it will be difficult to continue to eat and drink here. Thinking of this, Angelo raised his head and sniffed vigorously, as if there was a breath of treasure in the air. Anyway, there was no goal. The dead horse was a living horse doctor, and the three of them followed Angelo to stop and go all the way. Unconsciously, they came out of a low-lying basin. Although they didn't understand why there was a basin in the forest, the different terrain still refreshed the three of them, speeding up their pace, and entering it. Having entered the basin, I suddenly felt that the temperature of the entire environment had dropped sharply. The weather above was normal, but the basin seemed to be in the ice and snow. The strange thing was that the surrounding plants still maintained the verdant image. Naturally, this temperature can't hurt the three of them, and even for Kyuzan, it is more suitable for him to fight, but the strange contrast makes the three of them subconsciously vigilant, transporting their whole body strength to guard against possible weirdness. Along the way, I quickly came to the center of this basin, with a large green herb growing in the center, and 2 vermilion fruits on each herb. Is this fruit just chance? Suddenly the ground under everyone's feet vibrated, saying that the time is too late and then it is fast. Suddenly, in the ground beneath their feet, a thick and black vine, covered in purple and black, appeared like a fierce lion majesty. Come! God Shadow! Thousand birds ice blade. Storm pheasant mouth red snow. Yahoo! 3 clear voices, accompanied by 3 powerful slashes, swept away the vines in front in 3 directions. After receiving the severely damaged vines, the root system retracted into the ground and never dared to appear again. But the 3 of them did not retract their weapons. The dangerous breath in the air did not come from the ground, and there was still an unknown danger in this area. Squeak Angelo's anxious and panicked voice came from behind. I don't know when, on the road behind him, a huge fiery red snake appeared silently. The snake is at least 50 meters long. The coiled snake formation completely blocked the way they came. The giant snake stood up, and its 2 vertical pupils stared condescendingly at 3 people and 1 beast, as if staring at a few delicious little mice. The 3 of them were okay, but Anglo was stared at by the giant snake due to his natural restraint, and he was stiff, he didn't dare to move, he only dared to make a squeak. Angrily glanced at Angru, this little mink might not be the opponent of the giant snake, but seeing the giant snake's huge body, the animal's instinctive reaction prevailed. Glancing at Kyuzan next to him, Garna was eager to win, and said relaxedly, Kyuzan, you can do it with me, and see who can do it. Ah la la, okay. Kyuzan really didn't care about this terrifying behemoth that was purely physical. There was a whirlwind under the 2 of them, and they stepped on moonwalk, approaching the giant snake from left to right. Seeing that 2 small insects even dared to come forward, the giant snake let out a terrifying scream, swung its head, and bit at Kyuzan like lightning. Chapter 38. Ah la la, do you think I'm easier to bully? Kyuzan muttered uncomfortably. Shave, exerted force under his feet, and easily avoided the huge bite. Kyuzen had already reached the top of the giant snake's head. Ice Age. The powerful ice force struck, and the naked frost covered the giant snake's body in an instant, making its body stiff. Shen Fengliu, the golden sword energy tens of meters long slashed from the side, and across the 7 inches of the giant snake. Silently, the giant snake's head slipped from its neck. With a bang, the huge body hit the ground heavily, twisting in pain, the trees that were smashed broke, and the dust was flying. Garna and Kyuzen have long seen that this giant snake has its own appearance. Apart from the extraordinary power it brings to it, its huge body has no special place, and its physical strength is not even comparable to that of Engru. It's a pity that this power has no effect on Logia's Kyuzen, and Garna's swordsmanship is enough to restrain it, so the two men made a contract. The result is no matter the outcome, the two took the life of the giant snake almost at the same time. Thinking about how many years the giant snake has ruled this valley, he met these two evil stars today and lost his life in a daze. Since there are guardian beasts, there are indeed treasures in the valley on the front. It seemed that the medicinal material in the middle of the valley was possible, but a few people didn't know it, so they picked all the leaves and fruits, and planned to take them back for Garp to see. The three returned to the training camp and found Garp, who was hiding in the office and eating senbei, and explained their intentions. Garp was not surprised to see Garna and the others picking the medicinal materials. This kind of medicinal material is called soul-grabbing grass. It only grows in strange cold places. The fruit that grows is not only useless, but also has the power of coldness. If ordinary people eat it, they will get frostbite. Only its leaves are the real treasures. Eating it can increase your mental power. Garp chewed the senbei and explained vaguely. Garner asked curiously, what is spiritual power? Putting down the senbei, taking a sip of water, Garp said slowly, everyone is born with a huge potential hidden in the body, similar to haki, but not everyone can trigger this power, and armed the haki corresponding to the color is observation haki. And the opening of observation haki is inseparable from mental power. Mental power is different from physical power and can be exercised. Mental power is innate. Talents with natural spiritual power have the opportunity to develop observation haki, a kind of change that can change the 5 senses. You're keen, you can observe the power of the surrounding aura changes. Pointing to Garner, Garp continued, and your kid, you should be born with a strong spiritual power, and naturally awakened the existence of seeing, hearing and color. Hearing that Garna was born awakened observation haki, Kyuzen and Tia looked at him in surprise. Garp Vice Admiral, you mean that the leaves of the spirit grass can help us awaken observation haki faster, don't you? Tia asked softly. Yes, eating these soul-inducing grasses every day can quickly increase your mental power and help you awaken your senses. Garp replied affirmatively. According to Garp's suggestion, the trio divided the haki into 3 parts. Kyuzen and Tia could use the haki to comprehend what they saw as quickly as possible, while Garna could rely on the haki to take observation haki to the next level. Observation haki, cultivated to a high level, can even peer into the long river of time, to the point of foreseeing the future. Although Garna is a congenital awakening of seeing and hearing, but seeing and hearing is only a very basic state, it is still very early to Dachan. After making an appointment with Tia to continue to the 9th floor for exercise on the 2nd day, Garna returned to the dormitory. Ready to try the effects of the newly acquired soul-inducing grass. After taking a leaf, a force of extreme cold rises from the abdomen, and then rises to the head, making one's own thoughts lighter and more thorough. There are some profound meanings that you can't understand in normal days, and seem to be able to catch them. The essentials are general. After nearly an hour of stiffness, Garner, who was awake, clearly felt that the detection range of observation haki had increased by 10% compared to before. After eating all the soul-inducing grass, it is estimated that the sight and smell will be at least doubled compared to before, which is also an unexpected gain. Garna's perception and appearance combined with the ability of fluctuation fruit, the range of increase in itself is far greater than ordinary perception and appearance. After eating soul grass, the effect is even more immediate. As long as he wants to, now the induction range can easily cover the entire training camp. I saw Tia and the others on the 2nd day and found that they still hadn't awakened, but it was also. Although their talents were outstanding, haki itself was not that good master. Continue to the 9th floor to exercise. With Garna's physical strength, he can no longer bring any benefits to the periphery of the gravity island. Only the innermost layers can be effective. During this period, the 3 of them were driven by curiosity to enter the last 10th floor, but the 10th floor seemed to be shrouded in a mist all day long. Even with Garna's experience and color, he could not sense the specific path. People always go in and walk around, come out unknowingly, and return to the 9th floor. After trying twice, seeing that they couldn't get in, thinking of Garp's warning, several people lost their interest in taking risks and only moved in the 9th floor. In the morning, I went to the forest to exercise physical skills, hunted and burned at noon, and competed with Q's and Tia for swordsmanship and fruit ability. In the afternoon, I returned to the training camp to learn swordsmanship with Bogart, and developed my own fruit ability in the evening. That's the day Tenten passed. The monthly competition is still going on. After several rounds of competition, Qzan, Garna, and Tia are already incomparably powerful, winning the recognition of all the trainees in the training camp and becoming the well-deserved top 3 in the training camp. It's just that Garp has been consciously letting the 3 of them avoid, so there has been no conclusion about who the 3 is strong and who is the weak. Some students even open the handicap privately for the 3 of them who is the first. Unfortunately, Garp found out and directly all gambling funds have been confiscated. In the hearts of most students, Qzan is the first, Garna is the second, Tia is the third, and Logia Demon Fruit power is strong. Everyone can see the power of Logia Demon Fruit. Can only be slaughtered. The horrible fruit ability, in the monthly test, there is no one who meets Qzan, and Qzan has won the title of monster in the minds of most students. Garner didn't take it seriously when he heard it. He who had a copy system focused not only on the present, but on the future. He believes that he will not lose to anyone, now or in the future. During this time, Garna, whether it was swordsmanship, haki, physical skills, or fruit ability, showed overwhelming tyranny without any shortcomings. In this world where the strongest can always win the respect of some people. As for Tia, even though she is a girl, the entire training camp dare not underestimate her swordsmanship alone. The assessment before entering the camp is as high as 1500 Dao power. Until now, it still allows most of the people in the training camp. Desperate figures of people. Except for having never played against Qzan and Garna, the rest of the games, such as Dalmesia, Flying Squirrel, and other strong players, have been defeated by Tia's sword. The strength of the top 3 is worthy of the name. Others, such as Dalmesia, Flying Squirrels, Dogman, etc., have made rapid progress in the past few months, and their strength is very different from the time before entering the island, but compared with the previous 3 monsters, they are still very big. Difference. The gap is so big that Dalmesia, who has always been competitive, has given up challenging Garner. There is no way. He has lost too many times and received too much blow. If he hadn't always been optimistic, it is estimated that he might be devastated by the blow. In the past few months, Garna has made rapid progress in kendo, haki, and physique. He also feels that his cooking skills have broken through to a new level. Chapter 39. Since showing her cooking skills to Tia for the first time, she seldom eats in the training camp. Every day, in the name of training, she takes Garna to the forest for training and exercises her cooking skills by the way. Qzan, who smelled the fragrance, is naturally indispensable behind him. Subsequently, the team further expanded. For example, after Dalmesia and Flying Squirrels were strong enough, they also joined the training team. After Garp accidentally ate Garna's craftsmanship once, he couldn't beat him even more. It was time for dinner. Must arrive. However, Garna didn't hate this feeling, he himself was more researched about eating, and he allocated a part of his energy every day, changing various tricks to burn a variety of delicacies for Tia to taste. It's not easy to direct Tia, but you don't have to be polite to the other foodies. They arrange hunting, which fetches water, and which fetch spices every day. For the sake of stuttering, a few people are willing to eat. The peaceful days are at an end. It has been 6 months since I arrived at the training camp in a blink of an eye, and Garp's training is finally over. Garp himself is often stationed in New World, this time because of the replacement of Sakazuki and Polo Salino, he can stay here for so long. Recently, I got news that it seems that New World is going to be messed up again, and the headquarters urgently dispatched Garp to guard. A group of people, after spending half a year in this magical land, will eventually return to Marineford for the second phase of training. The difference is that there were 62 people when they came, but one more animal, a purple mink, when they left. Since being conquered by Garna's cooking skills, this little guy, Anglu, can no longer do without the good days of having a good meal. In the past few months, he has been mingling with them. Knowing that they were leaving the island, for the sake of his better life in the future, Luo didn't hesitate at all, so he decided to relocate and follow Garna, eating and drinking. The moment the warship left the island, the students who had stayed in a multiple gravity environment for a long time suddenly felt top-heavy, as if they could fly with a little force under their feet. Changes in gravity also need to give them a process of adaptation. After returning to Marineford, Garp didn't talk to the students too much. After handing them to Zephyr, he and Bogart hurriedly left. It seems that the situation in New World is more chaotic than expected. After a brief day of rest, they devote themselves to high-intensity training. In this training at the headquarters, Zephyr taught them the deeper skills of armament haki and observation haki. Although Garp's armament haki and observation haki are superb, in terms of teaching methods, Zephyr can get rid of Garp 10 streets. Different from Garp's simple and rude teaching method, Zephyr will teach each person in accordance with their aptitude, pointing out each person's strengths and weaknesses, and guiding them to check for deficiencies. In addition, Zephyr also teaches them cultural lessons. That's right, it is the military theory course, because these people will be the middle and high level of Marine in the future, and leading the soldiers to fight. It is definitely not possible without extraordinary force, but it is not possible to rely on force alone. Marine Academy, in addition to teaching students how to fight, will also teach some students who are not so talented in combat, military courses. In this way, after graduation, some can enter the warhead and some can enter the staff, so that everyone's strength can be fully utilized. It's a pity that in this world where power is supreme, the role of strategy is actually insignificant, so most Marines can't afford to learn. Waiting to barely sit in class is already the best effort. Dalmesia, who is a scumbag, is one of the leaders, the fighting scum among the scumbags. On the contrary, Tia is very capable of learning, and she has a great interest in learning. She listens very carefully every time in the theory class, and she holds a book and reads words there from time to time after class. In the pirate world in memory, it seems that I haven't heard of Tia's name in the female marine. Could it be that she was transferred to the staff afterwards? Looking at the relish Tia holding a book every day, Garna curiously thought. In the evaluation of the headquarters, the ship commander can obtain the evaluation of S-class, and Garna's theoretical knowledge is naturally very solid. After all, the students of the Celestial Dynasty are world-renowned for their learning efficiency. Relying on excellent mental power and memory, although I don't like this knowledge, it is not too difficult to learn. Among these courses, there are a wide range of courses such as Introduction to Navigation, Marine Engineering, Marine Academic Course and Marine Leadership Course, Marine Campaign Command, Marine Tactical Command, Marine Weapon System Course, Marine Electric Equipment Course, Marine Service Command, Marine Staff Command, etc. More than a dozen courses. All outstanding general officers in the headquarters serve as instructors to systematically teach students. Although these theoretical courses are cumbersome and desperate, Garner knows that the most precious thing in the world is knowledge that is inaccessible to others. The knowledge that ordinary civilians and seamen may not be able to learn in a lifetime is the really useful knowledge for soldiers and officers in the middle and lower ranks, which can avoid many risks and reduce unnecessary casualties. As an ordinary Marine from all over the world, it is his shortcoming that he has not received a systematic education from the college. Therefore, Garna maintained great enthusiasm, absorbing this knowledge eagerly and turning them into nutrients for his growth. With power alone, he will only become a reckless man, and in his heart, there has always been a slogan, that is, to become a wise and brave man like Sengoku of Buddha. Of course, the inclusion of things in the course, such as absolute compliance with the orders of the world government, must not go against the will of celestial dragons, and Garner would not have heard it. But Garna, who has a mature soul in his body, has his own set of values. While believing in justice, he will not aggravate his beliefs for the celestial dragons and the world government like Sengoku. Tempest kick finger pistol moonwalk hey. He gasped. The high-intensity exercise has been going on for a full half-day. Haki's exercise, physical training, and fruit ability development, Garner never stopped. Although he attaches great importance to the cultural courses of the military academy, Garner knows more clearly what he needs most if he wants to survive and implement the justice in his heart in this world of cannibalism. Although he has left Gravity Island, his progress has not stopped, but has grown wildly with a tendency to come from behind. Physical fitness, strength, kendo, fruit ability, every day Garna can feel the progress of his own strength. The 6 forms have been completely taken by his master, and he has already begun to practice and return to life. Coming to a halt from the rapid physical exercises, Garna drew out the sword, quietly experiencing, thinking slowly, the sword in his hand slowly waved, shielding all the fruit power and haki power, purely relying on and the induction between the swords came to realize the swordsmanship. Chapter 40. Tia, who had finished her training, was also sweating, sitting on the side of the training court curiously, watching Garna practice swordsmanship. Until now, she hadn't seen Garna make a full shot. The only revealed parts, such as physical skills, fruit ability, kendo, and haki, were all extremely powerful and extremely rare almighty types. Ordinary people are limited by energy and talent. Grandmaster is already extremely rare. Even monsters like Kyuzan are weak in swordsmanship. Most trainees in the training camp felt that Garna was weaker than Kyuzan, but Tia, who had dealt with him the most, knew that Garna was not weaker than Kyuzan at all, and who would win and lose would have to be played before knowing. At least she is currently not Garna's opponent. The breeze blew, rolled up the fallen leaves, quietly blowing over the top of Garna's head, and falling from his forehead. The blade light flashed, and the 3-day moon zone slashed on the golden leaves, and the invisible vigor rolled up a whirlwind in the air, solidifying the fallen leaves in the air. After squinting her eyes, Tia showed a trace of doubt in her eyes, and her eagle-like sharp gaze told her that Garna's sword did not hurt the fallen leaves at all, and the slender veins were clearly visible, without any damage. Faulted. Impossible, Tia shook her head. Kaka. A faint sound came, stopped in Tia's ears, but it was like thunder. The leaves were not damaged, but a huge boulder 100 meters away from behind the leaves split in two. What a great swordsmanship, Garna, your swordsmanship has improved again. Tia got up and faced Garna. Shaking his head, Garna didn't speak, looking at Sanryu Azong near in his hand, continuing to meditate. Although this sword is powerful, it has not reached his ideal state. Originally in his expectation, the invisible sword energy cut out from the air should silently shatter the entire boulder from 100 meters away, instead of cutting the boulder in half. Why, your swordsmanship is so powerful, I am no longer your opponent, am I still not satisfied? Tia asked unhappy. No, my swordsmanship has recently encountered a bottleneck. Blindly hard training can no longer be improved. But you, be less modest, and I am not necessarily your opponent by swordsmanship alone. Garner smiled decisively and conceded. Since returning to Marineford, you have either studied culture classes or worked hard every day. If you knew this, it would be better to continue training on Gravity Island with Garp Vice Admiral. Tia said. Thinking about being busy with exercise recently, I really didn't pay much attention to Tia. Garner thought about it and said, listen to Dalmatia, the town recently opened a new Megis restaurant, which contains your favorite food. Aegean boat, try this afternoon. Okay. Tia was instantly distracted and agreed with a smile. The town Garner was talking about was a small town next to Marineford Naval Headquarters, where the families of Naval Headquarters staff lived there, with many members, and it naturally developed into a small town. Being in the safest sphere of influence in the world, life in this town can be called affluent and comfortable. The entire town is surrounded by apricot and olive trees. Inside is a living area, where members of Marine's family live, and outside is a living and trading area, where you will find everything you need for food, clothing, housing, transportation, and entertainment. Zephyr's training is much more relaxed, as long as you complete the training tasks of the academy, other time is free to control. In addition to the heavy training, the trainees of the training camp will also take time to relax in the town on their rest days. After returning to the camp to wash up briefly, Garna did not call other light bulbs, and went directly to the town with Tia for sightseeing. That day, I went to the military theory course again. As in the past, Garner still came to the class very early, sitting in the place closest to the podium, waiting for the class to start. But he was a little surprised by the person who came in today, and saw the person who came in, wearing a red half-sleeved shirt, a marine cap, and a long knife behind his back. Although I haven't seen it, I have been famous for a long time. It was Sakazuki, who was an excellent student in the first 2 sessions of Marine, and is now known as a monster in Marine. For Sakazuki's arrival, the most pleasant surprise was Garner. I thought that Sakazuki was still on a mission outside, and would not see him for a while, but unexpectedly, he came to Marine Academy to teach. It turned out that the students invited the outstanding seniors from the previous years to come to the school to give a short speech to the students to inspire the students to work hard. He ignored the cool Akainu's speech on stage, opened the system without hesitation, and scanned his information. Name, Sakazuki. Race, Terran Devil Fruit, Logia. Lava Fruit. Talent abilities, the body of magma, can ignite all things that come into contact with, can turn any part of the body into magma, immune to physical damage, exclusive skills, cannot be copied. Absolute justice, extremely hate the pirates, double the damage to the pirate camp forces. Xianhong Lian, the power of magma can burst, causing a lot of fire damage to the enemy. Magma armor, add a layer of magma armor to yourself to increase your own defenses. Fire tree silver flower, special physique, a physique that matches the frequency of the fire attribute devil fruit, which greatly increases devil fruit's attack power. The same 5 attributes, admiral level talent flashed Garna's face. Without hesitation, using a copy of the fruit that he had just grown, Garna copied Akainu's red lotus ability and gained the attack power of lava fruit, which is known as the strongest attack in Logia devil fruit. With the power of ice and fire, Garna believed that his attack power must have gone to the next level. Akainu came and left in a hurry. After speaking, he left in a hurry. In his haughty eyes, instead of wasting time here, it is better to go to the sea to hunt down the dregs on the sea. Ice and fire still lack Kizaru's power, and the main goal of coming to this club will soon be achieved. Garner thought. Sure enough, the original decision to come to the headquarters was correct, and in more than half a year, he made a qualitative leap in his strength. The days that followed were flat again. Teaching, exercise, teaching. Soon it was another 6 months. In the past 6 months, I never encountered Kizaru to give a lecture to the students. I don't know if Zephyr didn't like him and didn't call him, or he was lazy and didn't want to come. In the past 6 months, Zephyr has been teaching while secretly paying attention to seed students such as Kyuzan and Garna. What makes him gratified is that in addition to their outstanding talents, their perseverance is even more commendable. You know, there is no shortage of geniuses in this world. But if you want to stand out from the underworld beings, what you need more is strong perseverance and perseverance. Over the past 6 months, he watched the growth and struggle of these students, and his heart was filled with gratification and excitement. Especially for Garna. In the past 6 months, he watched this young man practice endlessly day and night. Armament haki, observation haki, swordsmanship, physical skills, and fruit abilities are all top-notch. You must know that cultivating any of these items for ordinary people will consume a lot of time and energy, and he just relies on his innate talent and perseverance, and with this crazy and desperate spirit, he can do what ordinary students want. Things I can't think of. Because Garna knew how brutal and bloody the sea in the future would be. The system certainly gave him a powerful opportunity, but it was only a chance to become stronger. If he didn't fight for his life now, he wouldn't even have the chance to fight for his life when he met a real strong in the future. So he was practicing almost in a desperate posture, and his physical and mental energy was always like a hanging steel wire, always walking on the edge of collapse. In the end, he surpassed Kyuzan for the first time with excellent results in various assessments and became the first place in the training camp. Chapter 41. Without time to experience the joy of being powerful, they soon ushered in the final training. The training camp ushered in the latest instructor. Marine is currently Admiral, Sengoku of Buddha. Sengoku Admiral. The trainees were surprised at first, and then couldn't help themselves with excitement. First, Garp, then Zephyr, and finally sent the current Admiral to serve as instructor. You can imagine the expectations and attention that Naval Headquarters has to these students. Students, you are very good. Over the past year, I have been watching your growth bit by bit in the headquarters. Sengoku's first words inspired the crowd. You both graduated with excellent results in the hands of Garp and Zephyr. I believe you can also achieve excellent results in my hands. Sengoku continued to pour sugar water into the students. Looking at the vigorous young people below, Sengoku is also excited. These are the future of Marine. On this sea, only Marine can maintain the safety of the people and end the era of evil pirates. The stronger Marine is, the happier he will be. I'm here this time, and I will spend a month teaching you. You have already learned about physical skills, haki, or swordsmanship before. I will not teach you. What you can learn from me is about the battle center. The training of physical skills and the development of devil fruit. Mind physical skills. Developed by devil fruit. There was a commotion among the students. Can the development of devil fruit be taught? Someone who consumes devil fruit is puzzled. And those who don't have devil fruit, in addition to loss, is loss. Mind physical skills. Garner was keenly aware of the rarity of another skill Sengoku wanted to teach. To say that the super strong in Marine can't get around Sengoku who is Admiral. Possess Conqueror's Haki, Zoan all fruits, phantom beasts, and giant Buddha form abilities, and are well-deserved one of the world's top powerhouses in One Piece. Carrying out the Kun justice in the world, anyone who disobeys the order of the world government will be executed mercilessly, a man who combines strength and wisdom. When reading comics in his previous life, Garna felt that in addition to allowing Sengoku to gain the Buddha-like power, the real effect of the giant Buddha form of the phantom beast is to allow the capable person to gain the Buddha's spirit and wisdom, and the clever mind combines the power of the Buddha, making Sengoku the ultimate powerhouse with both mental and physical skills. If it weren't for Sengoku, who later became a marshal, and was dragged down by heavy military affairs all day long, this man who was born with the king's qualifications would definitely show more power than the original strength. And the development of mental and physical skills and fruit abilities is definitely a precious skill that can make Garna go to the next level. Next, Sengoku first asked the people who eat devil fruit in the training camp to show their abilities one by one, and then give targeted guidance to let them understand the potential of their fruits and the direction of development. And people like Tia who have no fruit can only look sadly. Even Kyuzan of Logia benefited a lot after Sengoku's guidance. Soon, it was Garna's turn to step forward. Galna, the person with the ability to fluctuate fruit, I have followed you, now I will demonstrate your ability. Sengoku's eyes narrowed when he looked at the boy in front of him. Since coming to Marineford, this boy has been like Kyuzan and he has been paying attention to him. At the beginning, he was only concerned because of the fruit that is not weak. As time goes by, more and more reports have brought the boy's amazing his talent and perseverance are shown in front of Sengoku's eyes a little bit. Garp and Zephyr's praise of him, and the evaluation of him by various instructors, made Sengoku more and more affirmed. In the next 10 years, 20 years later, this young man will be enough to become Marine's mainstay, who can be compared with Sakazuki and Polo Salino. Become a strong man to suppress this chaotic sea. Yes. Garna said sternly. Taking a deep breath, Garna made a fist and swiped a fist toward the open space in the distance. Visible fluctuations burst from his fist, and the open area pointed to by his fist gave out violent vibrations and explosions. The ground shook and the mountains shook, causing terrifying cracks. A huge hole appeared in the most central area. The students around him were dumbfounded, and they rarely saw Garner's shot. Although he knew he was strong, such a terrifying attack still surprised them inexplicably. You must know that this is a training ground for generals. Commodore-level attacks hit the ground. The ground that can't be destroyed is in Garna's hands, like thin paper. I can trigger the objects I touch, such as the air and the ground, through my own fluctuations, and let the fluctuations induce vibrations and cause large-scale damage. Then, he drew his sword, waved it out, and slashed out with a golden sword a few meters long and wide. Along the way, horrible waves came again, shattering all the heavy-bearing boulders along the way, and finally the huge sword energy hit the target, again causing shocks and explosions like earthquakes. The entire square was completely split in half under this blow. You can also attach the ability to the weapon to enhance the attack. In addition, it can turn fluctuations into an invisible shield to defend against external attacks. It can also be used as an auxiliary boost for physical exercises. Garna briefly demonstrated the ability of volatility fruit and explained the increase in attack and defense. The students around were completely shocked and speechless. Even the flying squirrels and Dalmesia, who are familiar with him, were shocked and didn't know what number to say. When did Garna reach this height? Are you sure it was the training camp with us? The two expressed doubts about life. But Kyuzan and Tia didn't show much surprise about this. The students all expressed their amazement at Garna's powerful offensive power. Sengoku looked at Garna, lost in thought. As Admiral, his vision is naturally different from that of the students. From this fruit and Garna's development of it, he sees the infinite potential and the development is good. This is completely a strategic level fruit. Yes, it's a very powerful fruit, and you have developed well. But your development direction is too single. Sengoku said. Single. Garner expressed doubts. The development of the fruit should not only focus on its attack and defense, but should develop its functions in a multifaceted manner based on its nature. Sengoku continued. The development of fruit can be divided into point and surface development. Point development is to focus on developing a certain feature of it, such as attack, defense, such as assistance. Any point developed to ultimate is an extremely powerful fruit. Nodding his head, Garna agreed with Sengoku's statement. His development direction has always been in addition to the development of Ripple Kigong, which is to focus on integrating the ability of fluctuation into the attack. Chapter 42. And when the point is developed to ultimate, you can develop more horizontal functions with points and areas. For example, the ability of fluctuation can be used to trap people in addition to forming a shield defense. Everything has fluctuations, so what about thinking, emotions? Can these be combined with your abilities? With a boom, Garna was struck by lightning, and Sengoku's words completely made him recognize his one-sidedness in fruit development. It is true that the development of fruit requires a powerful brain, but the powerful forces in this world, after so many years of research and exploration, must have their own systematic approach to the development of devil fruit. After all, people in this world, but even man-made devil fruit can be made. It is enough to see that their understanding and development of devil fruit is not just relying on their brains. The characteristics of Master's fluctuation, Master's shape change, develop one of the points to ultimate, and then use this point to move the entire surface, thereby enhancing its power in all directions. This is the direction you will work on next. Sengoku analyzed for Garner. Garna nodded earnestly, and sincerely thanked Sengoku. This lesson will help him more than ever, as if it broke the two-dimensional wall. The thoughts that popped up in his mind at this moment made him impatient. The urge to experiment. Next, Sengoku pointed out other unfruitful students and taught them how to hone their physical skills, avoid their own shortcomings, and improve their own strengths. However, Garna did not ask Sengoku about his mental and physical skills. He was too greedy to chew. Anyway, Sengoku still has to teach for a month. While Sengoku pointed someone, Garner turned on the detection function and checked Sengoku's attributes. Name, Sengoku of the Buddha race, Terran Devil Fruit, Zoan.udemons. Everyone Fruit. Big Buddha Form. Talent abilities, Big Buddha Form, it can be transformed into a Buddha form, the body becomes larger, and the strength and wisdom are greatly improved. Exclusive skills, cannot be copied. Kun Linshengzia, the qualifications of the king, the courage of conquerors haki, the invisible oppression in the battle, can reduce the opponent's four-dimensional, and double the damage caused by itself. King Kong ramming, it can burst out a powerful shock wave, causing a lot of damage to the enemy. Flowing clouds and flowing water, combat skills that have been tempered, and the perfect fusion of mind and body skills, can burst out more damage and attacks in battle. Absolutely saint and abandoned wisdom, absolute wisdom, for any devil fruit, it can reach the development of ultimate. There are 5 shining golden attributes again, and Garna is already numb. But Garna didn't rush to copy Sengoku's talents, not to say that Sengoku's attributes were not good. On the contrary, each of Sengoku's 5 attributes is the ultimate talent. But I was inspired by Sengoku just now. Although my power is good, I can't chew too much. Only the power that suits me and is completely owned by my master is my own power. Blindly seeing good talents and copying them is not desirable. Only those talents that are suitable for oneself and can be perfectly integrated into their own power system are what Garna needs in the future. In the end, Garna chose Sengoku, and the 2 talents Kun Linshengzia and Xingyun Liashui were copied. As Marine, the only strong person with Conqueror's Haki, Sengoku's Conqueror's Haki qualification, is what Garner wants anyway. Only one person in a million has the King's talent. But getting the qualification does not mean that Garna can now own Conqueror's Haki. To open Conqueror's Haki, he still needs a specific opportunity. But now, he at least has the entry ticket. The movement and the flow of water are closely related to Sengoku's physical and mental skills. With the same strength, combat experience and skills are definitely the key to victory. As for the other 2 talents, they overlap with Garna's current talents and functions, so there is no need to consider them at all. For the next 7 days, Garna focused on developing his fruiting ability and devoted a lot of energy every day, but he never tired of it and was immersed in it. In just 7 days, he felt that his development of the fruit had completely sublimated to a whole new realm. If there is a level, the previous development level is at most intermediate, and Sengoku's student raised his level to advanced. With the current insights, he felt that he could definitely develop the fruit of volatility into a fruit that did not lose to Logia. On the 8th day, he found Sengoku and showed him his newly developed capabilities and some undeveloped ideas. Yes, you are very savvy. Simply click on it. Your achievements surprised me. Sengoku was surprised at first, and then said with satisfaction. Next, I will teach you mental and physical skills. Garna heard this and looked at Sengoku with bright eyes. The mind-body skill, in Sengoku's explanation, is an extremely powerful skill. Ordinary people can only use about 70% of their power with each attack, while the strong can perfectly display 80% or even 90% of their power after training again and again. The mind-body skill is a technique used by the strong to control their own strength, combination of moves, and use of tactics during the cruel exercises, and the three are perfectly matched to give full play to their own offensive power. A person who can attack the weakest point of the opponent with his strongest blow. When the strength of the two parties is equal, the person with the master's physical and mental skills can fully exert his own strength, so as to achieve the point of defeating the strong with the weak. The strongest in this world can stand at the apex of the world. It can be said that everyone has their own strong side, or the superb physique like Garp, or the strongest fruit ability like Whitebeard, and Sengoku. It is precisely by virtue of the wisdom and strength given by the Udemon fruit, combined with years of combat experience, a set of supreme fighting system summed up. It's easy to say, but after Sengoku came here, even if he taught himself unselfishly, there was still not even a student who could understand the skills he taught. Even the best talented Kyuzen and Tia are also a fruitful ability and a bias. Kendo does not understand the art of mind and physical skills. Mental and physical skills rely on talent, understanding, physique, perseverance, experience, and a little luck to realize the ultimate skills. Looking at Garner, who was in deep thought, experimenting with his mental and physical skills, and completely forgetful, Sengoku smiled slightly. Although he did not return much hope for whether Garner could realize his mental and physical skills, but the hard work and diligence of the young man is what he is. I have been in my eyes, but sincerely wish him. A month later, it was Sengoku's last day in training camp. This month, Sengoku relied on his extraordinary personality, charm and dedicated guidance to make everyone in the training camp respect him. It is a pity that, including Garner, although everyone's strength has greatly improved, they still haven't learned the mental and physical skills taught by Sengoku. Sengoku didn't say it on the surface, but he was still a little disappointed in his heart. Chapter 43. Looking at the neat students, Sengoku noticed that Garna, who had always been on time, hadn't come. Kyuzen, where is the Garna? Sengoku asked. Sengoku Admiral, Garna is exercising in the back mountain. Tia replied before Kyuzen. This kid, haven't you given up? Sengoku thought helplessly. The training camp was built on the mountain. Since Garner showed his terrifying offensive power a month ago, Sengoku arranged for him to practice alone in the back mountain, fearing that if he continued to practice like this, the training camp would be destroyed. At this time, Garna was sitting cross-legged on a rock, staring straight ahead, his eyes out of focus, and he muttered to himself. For the past half-month, he has been in this state, exercising frantically every day, trying to comprehend the skills taught by Sengoku, and every time he does not understand, Sengoku also carefully teaches it. Garner could feel a little improvement in his strength, but he was always close, still unable to touch the invisible door. So that during this period of time, he was like a demon, practicing alone in the back mountain every day, comprehending what he had learned all by himself, thinking about the changes between moves, and simulating battle scenes in his mind. A stroke of sword force, boxing technique, and 6 styles flashed through his mind like lightning. Gradually, Garna entered a wonderful realm, and all thoughts disappeared. In the chaos, a little light shines. In the absence of thoughts, Garna seemed to feel another thought in his body, which was actively exuding, transformed into a human-shaped thought, dancing there. At some point, Garna had stood up and punched in the howling mountain wind. Each move was silent, but the burst of power on the hands and feet silently destroyed the surrounding trees. Unconsciously stomped his foot, and the earth fell apart. With a subconscious punch, the punching force sent out a gully tens of meters long on the hard ground. Okay. A shout came, awakening Garna, who was practicing. Turning his head, it was Sengoku who was striding forward. It turned out that before Sengoku left, he was still worried about Garna, fearing that he was addicted to physical skills, lost his mind, and could not bear a good seed to go astray, so he was ready to persuade him again. Unexpectedly, as soon as you entered the back mountain, you saw a messy scene, and the center was Garner, who was addicted to boxing practice. Sengoku saw at a glance that Garna had realized the mental and physical skills that no one in the entire training camp could comprehend, and couldn't help but applaud. Sengoku Admiral. Garna leaned slightly to show respect. After getting started with mental and physical skills, he knew the power of this profound meaning. The damage caused just now did not use the fruit ability, nor the swordsmanship bonus, only relying on the power of the flesh, it exerted a terrible attack far beyond normal. It is hard to imagine the damage that can be exerted after this profound meaning is achieved. No wonder Sengoku can sit firmly in Admiral's position outside of the heavy military affairs. When Garp refuses to be promoted to Admiral, Zephyr retires, and Marine has only one Admiral, he still leads Marine to suppress the evil forces of the entire sea with absolute advantage. Looking at the still immature face of the young man in front of him, Sengoku said with emotion, "Since I understood the mind and body skills, I have always taught Marine to the next generation. Unfortunately, until today, only you have fully understood this skill. It's worth noting me. Give me a lesson, Garna, you didn't disappoint me. I still want to thank Sengoku Admiral for your careful teaching, otherwise I won't understand it so quickly." Garner bowed again, although he is usually awkward, but Sengoku is kind to him, he also knows, so this worship, willingly. Sengoku was gone, and left with a heart of excitement. This time he came to the training camp and the harvest has far exceeded expectations. When he left, he was particularly relaxed. Looking at Garna and Kyuzan, Sengoku seemed to have seen the justice of Marine the day when Kun came to the sea. In the next few months, Garner and the others have been training freely in the camp, absorbing the knowledge they have learned before, and waiting for the assignment of internships in the second half of the year. During the 2-year training camp career, the first 1.5 years is the learning phase, and the last half of the year will all be assigned to each branch of the Grand Line for internships. Finally, according to the results of the graduation assessment, the future stay will be decided. 6 months later, Sabayati Archipelago. Sabayati Archipelago, known as the Soap Bubble Islands, is a very special place. Located in front of the Red Line in the middle of the Grand Line, it is the last stop in the first half of the Grand Line. It is close to Naval Headquarters Marine Ford. The entire island is actually a huge mangrove, the Yarkiman mangrove, because its roots are always exposed on the water. Formed the Sabayati Archipelago. The world's noble celestial dragons' residence and abuse of power have created its particularity. Human traffickers and bounty hunters are common on this island. The sale of humans, murlocs, and mermaids is recognized as a legal industry with the permission of celestial dragons. In a sense, this is an island full of chaos and decay, and the justice of Marine can't cover the entire island at all. Compared with the absolute power that Marine has in each branch, on this island, the Justice Marine can only execute the so-called justice in a limited area. As a Dalmesia born in Marine Ford, he is naturally no stranger to Sabayati Archipelago. Unfortunately, the Sabayati Archipelago he knows is only what Marine wants him to see. After another 6 months of arduous training, Garner and their training are finally coming to an end, and the rest of the time will be allocated to different branches for internships. On this day, Zephyr kindly let them off for a few days. Dalmesia, who was happy and not happy, couldn't restrain the excitement, and took Garna to Sabayati to relax, and by the way, for the upcoming parting. Practice it. The flying squirrels and others from all over the world, upon receiving the invitation from Xiao Xiao, went to the appointment happily. So a group of several people came to the prestigious Sabayati Archipelago for fun. As a local snake, Dalmesia is familiar with the road and shoulders the important task of tour guide. Sabayati Archipelago consists of 79 trees in total, which means there are 79 areas. This time we are going to area No 30 to 49. There are huge amusement parks and sightseeing areas covering dozens of islands. The shops, restaurants, etc. of Wahua 8 Gate are usually visited by tourists who come here, enough for us to have fun, said the tour guide Ada. Hearing that this huge island is actually a huge tree, the North Blue Earthbun flying squirrel closed his mouth in surprise, saying that he couldn't understand it at all. The world is really big. Where are the other areas, isn't it fun? Tia, who was riding on the bubble car, asked curiously. Dalmesia shook his head and said solemnly, "It's better not to go to other areas. My father warned me that I can only move in areas 30 to 49. In the rest of the places, I heard that some places are illegal. Don't go." Chapter 44. The Lawless Zone? Naval Headquarters is right next to it, why is the Lawless Zone so courageous? The flying squirrel with a sense of justice couldn't understand it. Dalmesia hesitated and couldn't say why. Garner, who has the memory of comics, knows the reason why Dalmesia didn't say it. In this Sabayati Archipelago, the islands directly controlled by Marine are actually only islands 60 to 69. Islands number 1 to number 29 are the most chaotic and disorderly area on this island. It is also called an unlawful place. Most of the pirates and bounty hunters gather here. There is also the famous human auction venue. Islands number 50 to number 59 are the site of the boatman and the location of the coding. As we all know, you must cross the red line from the first half of the Grand Line to the second half, and there are only two ways to cross the red line. One way is to abandon the ship and pass by the sacred place Marijois on the top of the red line, where the world government is located and the place where the celestial dragons of the world's nobles live. Another way is to come here to coat the boats at Sabayati Archipelago so that the boats can sail under the sea until they pass a huge hole at the bottom of the red line. There is also a deep sea island at the entrance of the cave, called the Fishmen Island, where the mermaid and murlocs live together. After passing there, you can go to the second half of the Grand Line. Of course, there is actually only one way for the pirates, and that is coding, because asking the pirates to abandon their ships and go to the Holy Land Marijois is tantamount to throwing themselves into the net. And the last islands number 70 to number 79 is a hotel street. Whether it is tourists who come to play, or pirates and bounty hunters with special purpose, they will finally come here to rest. The situation of the entire Sabayati archipelago can be described as intricate. Undoubtedly, among the 6 artificially divided areas, the most complicated and at the same time the most dangerous area is the first area. That is where islands 1 to 29 are located. This can be seen from the area occupied by this area alone. Even people from marine and world government control only 10 islands in this Sabayati archipelago, but this area occupies a total of 29 islands. This is enough to explain a lot of problems. Garna guessed the reason, but he didn't say anything, and it was useless to say it until there was no absolute power. Seeing that Ada didn't want to say more, everyone stopped asking more questions and followed the advice and went to the sightseeing area and amusement area to play. Galna, look, there is also a Mijas ice cream shop here, hurry up, I want to eat the boat of the Aegean Sea. The clothes in this shop are so beautiful, let's go in and try. Wow, the bubble house is so strange. Garna, let's go ride the bubble Ferris wheel. Tia, who was a newcomer, was completely conquered by the bubble culture of Sabayati, eating, drinking, and having fun along the way. She was completely absent from the training camp and used her own efforts to beat most of the male students in the style of a big sister. She has become a little girl who loves eating, beauty, and playfulness. Gradually, it turned into 3 girls in front, and the men behind Marine had a bitter face, carrying all kinds of snacks and clothes in large and small bags. A whole Dalmesia, what bad idea came up, is this for fun? Doberman muttered secretly. Dalmesia also has a bitter face, and I didn't expect that a few eldest ladies would have a battle index when they went shopping. Think about Kuzan hiding in the dormitory and not following. Garner and the others agree that Kuzan is still clever. Garner stopped suddenly. What's the matter? When the others saw this, they turned their heads. Stop, BCH, stop for me, grab you, and break your leg. A tyrannical voice suddenly came from behind a tree next to it. The young girls looked up, and saw a limping figure in the distance, running towards them staggeringly, and when they walked in, it was a girl in rags. Behind him were dozens of ferocious big guys with hideous faces. Seeing them, the girl shed tears on her horrified face, and shouted in a hoarse voice. Please, anyone, please help me. Seeing this scene before them, Tia and other female marines were so angry that they stepped forward to protect the girl, while Garna and others confronted the big guys who arrived later. Who are you? In broad daylight, dare to commit crimes? The flying squirrel asked first. Seeing that they were stopped by a group of young stinks, the leading man laughed disdainfully. Before the uncle became angry, leave the people behind, and quickly get out of Laozi, annoyed the uncle, you even took them back together as slaves and sold them. Slave capture team. Garner squinted his eyes. Why, that's right, uncle, we are the subordinates of Lord Golden Tooth Bonus, we are acquainted, and we are obediently handing people over. Before the words were over, the flying squirrel, who was overwhelmed by the sense of justice, kicked the tempest kick away. The operation is as fierce as a tiger, and the combat power is 2.5. The villain who was talking about the head was so bullish that he fainted without even resisting a move by the flying squirrel. The rest of the squirrels are even more pretty. They don't need anyone else to take action, and the flying squirrels can do it all. Unexpectedly, the people who were illegally were so courageous that they would dare to break into the recreation area to catch people. Dalmzia said angrily. It should be she who escaped and came to the amusement park in order to chase this girl. Garner analyzed, Galna, what should we do next? Or we should hit their lair and rescue more people, and there must be more innocent victims. Tia said eagerly. The others, who were also passionate, agreed with Tia's words, and all looked at Garna, waiting for him to make up his mind. Although Garna is not the oldest among the people, he is the undisputed number one in terms of strength. All the young people convinced him. When encountering such a thing, they all subconsciously see what he says. You must save, but you can't just pass without a clue. Garner said affirmatively, wake up this guy first, pointed to the unconscious man next to him, first torture out where their lair is, and then leave 2 people here to guard these guys. Dalmizia, you take this girl, go to the marine branch in Sabayati, use your father's relationship to find the highest officer of the branch, and ask him to arrange support, and the rest will let me rescue others first. The soldiers are very fast, and after torturing where the slave hunting team is located, the night is long and dreamy. Garna left Belinda and another female soldier to guard these young men. Although Dalmizia wanted to participate in this event, he knew that without his father's relationship, the branch might not take care of it. So reluctantly led away. The rest, headed by Garna and Tia, headed for the 29th illegal zone in a mighty manner. Before leaving, Garna looked down at the ground, his eyes moving slightly. Chapter 45. After everyone walked away, in a dark corner that Belinda and others hadn't noticed, a dark figure gradually appeared from the ground. Look carefully, but he is a young man exactly the same as Garna's. The only skill that was copied from Redbeard and was upgraded, the clone, Garner used it for the first time. Life is back. Garna's body twisted and saw, his whole appearance changed drastically, and he became a handsome boy with black hair and black eyes, and his appearance completely changed to the appearance of another person. After shaving, Garna cloned from another direction and rushed to the residence of the slave hunting team. Number 29 District, number 89 Basalo Street. It was the location of the slave hunting team of Golden Tooth Bonus. Golden Tooth Bonus is the largest slave hunting team in this area. There are thousands of people under him, all of them are brutal and desperately fighting villains. Because Bonus clings to a nobleman on the island, he has been protected by the nobleman by handling some unseen business for the nobleman, and has become a leading slave trader in the 29th district. At this time, Bonus was furious in his house. The tightly guarded courtyard actually allowed a newly captured slave to escape. The arrested personnel were delayed in returning, making his temper even more grumpy. Just now, an innocent slave was killed. To vent his tyrannical temper. Tisk tusk, if Jack doesn't come back, it is estimated that the boss will be able to pull his skin later, and chasing a lady hasn't been caught until now. Listening to the smashing sound from inside the resident, the little brother standing guard in front of the door gloated and thought. Suddenly saw a black-haired boy approaching in the distance. A delicate face with a slight smile. Stop, anyone, do you know this place? I dare to rush. The mighty janitor shouted when he saw it. I'm looking for Bonus. The boy smiled and continued on without stopping. How old are you? Did our boss see you if you wanted to? The younger brother continued to chatter. With a flower in front of him, the boy had passed through the barriers of the two and came to the door. The doorman raised his hand, trying to prevent the entry of the teenager, but felt his own perspective revolving, and saw 2 headless corpses standing at the doorman. Who is that? Then his consciousness fell into a permanent deep sleep. Hearing the movement at the door, a few people walked out of the station to check the situation. But only saw a young man at the door, smiled and walked in. The heads of the 2 guarding the door rose to the sky, and the headless body fell to the ground. Enemy attack! Little brother 2 shouted loudly, his voice harsh and hoarse. The voice fell, and hundreds of heavily armed slave dealers sprang up from both sides of the corridor. As a master slave owner, Bonus has always attached great importance to his own safety. Whether traveling or at the station, there will be an armed team of hundreds of people guarding his vicinity. Bonus is confident that even if he encounters demon fruit power, with the combat power of hundreds of people, it is enough to buy him time to escape. Hearing the sound of killing in the front yard, Bonus knew that an enemy had come, but he was still cunning enough to be able to get to where he is today. Even if he didn't know who the enemy was coming, he still made preparations to escape immediately. In his courtyard, he didn't know a way to escape. As long as he is out, no matter who it is, he will retaliate back hundreds of times and thousands of times. Bonus said inwardly. Twisting the mechanism, the wall behind gradually opened a channel of unknown depth. So you want to be a mouse? A joking voice came from behind, making the figure that Bonus was about to drill and froze. Slowly turned around, looking at the spotless black-haired boy who appeared behind him at some unknown time. The sound of fighting outside still stopped. In just a few breaths, the armed team of hundreds of people seemed to have been wiped out. The combat power displayed by the enemy made Bonus's heart trembled and frightened. A drop of sweat dripped from his forehead slowly and firmly. This little brother, I have something to say. Bonus swallowed hard, trying to convince the evil star, I don't know you, is there any misunderstanding in this? You are Bonus. No doubt, with a certain tone, the black-haired boy said. Looking at the young boy's smiling face, a coldness rose from Bonus's spine, denying it intentionally, but not daring. Yes, the younger brother is Bonus, this elder brother, is there any misunderstanding? If there is any dispatch, the younger brother will die. Bonus lowered his head, concealing the fear and cruelty in his eyes, and his voice was extremely respectful. You don't have to die, just die. This is the last word Bonus heard in the world. After killing Bonus, the boy did not leave, but began to collect Bonus's treasure. As one of the many master slave owners of Sabayati Archipelago, Bonus's wealth during his lifetime was still considerable. From his secret path, he found quite a lot of gold and silver treasures, picked up the most valuable part, packed it, and the boy quickly left. When Garna and the others came to the streets of Besalu, they saw a terrible sight. The slave hunting squad of Bonus was overwhelmed by inexplicable forces. The armed squad of hundreds of people was killed. From the few remaining population, it was learned that all this was done by one person, which surprised Tia and the others. Inexplicable. If you just talk about defeating these forces, Tia and Flying Squirrels can do it by asking themselves, but if they only need a few hundred breaths of time from entering the door to killing Bonus, they can't do it. Perhaps Garna and Kyuzan can. Tia thought silently. Since someone has done good things in front of them, there is no need to entangle them, just to save innocent slaves harmlessly. When Dharmesia led the reinforcements of the Marine branch hurriedly, it was discovered that the battle had ended and a large number of slaves had been rescued. It made him a little depressed when he tried to come to a vigorous rescue battle. I learned from Dalmesia that all the elite officers who came to the training camp this time, the target of the headquarters' attention, the highest minister of Sabayati Archipelago Marine, Pierce Commodore, personally led the reinforcements to come to support. When it simply arrived, the battle had ended, and there were no casualties, so he let out a sigh of relief. If these elite seedlings of the headquarters were damaged here, it would be difficult for him to explain to the headquarters. Report, this is an account book searched from Bonus House, which contains evidence of Bonus crime. The Marine officer who was searching came to Pierce Commodore with a different color to report. After taking the account, Pierce frowned. Uncle Pierce, what's wrong, did you find anything? Dalmesia relied on his identity and asked directly and unscrupulously. Chapter 46. This account book records the transaction records of certain nobles between Bonus and Sabayati Archipelago. According to the records, the biggest backer behind him should be Lord Musgaroo, one of the nobles in the world. Pierce did not shy away from everyone. 50-10 said it. The Lord doesn't seem to be a very high status, right? Garner was a little curious. Hearing what the Commodore meant, it seemed that there was nothing to do with this nobleman. Pierce said bitterly, the Lord is not a high-ranking title, but the difficulty is that he is the Lord of the world's nobles. Even if the rank is not high, even if a crime is committed, only the world government can deal with him. Marine cannot impose sanctions on him. Can the nobles of the world be above the law? The Flying Squirrel said angrily. Although I don't want to admit it, but in a sense, it is. Pierce nodded, I will submit this account book to the headquarters, and the headquarters will forward it to the world government. As for how to deal with Musgaroo, it is up to the world government to decide. Looking directly into Pierce's eyes, Garna asked gently, you mean, it is very likely that the group of nobles will release Musgaroo without guilt, right? It's very possible. Pierce lowered his head in shame. As a righteous Marine, he couldn't carry out the faith and shame in his heart. Who knows? Understood, thank you for your support, Pierce Commodore. Garner continued to be gentle, and changed the subject without any haste, avoiding Pierce's embarrassment. Looking at the teenagers next to them, there were angry faces. Once upon a time, he was not one of them, but the cruel reality smoothed his edges and corners a little, and Pierce could only hurriedly bring the confiscated people. The slave trader and the rescued slave left. Naturally, Marine will take over the subsequent comfort matters. It's too damn it, Garna, can't we do anything, can we just look at it like this, the flying squirrel asked angrily. No, Felix, at least we rescued these innocent civilians, didn't we? As for the others, before gaining higher rights and power, we can only look at it like this now. Garner said. The cruel but realistic words left everyone speechless for a while. Yes, they are just a group of insignificant students, and the highest position has not reached the head of the school. What else can they do except anger? Abandoning the identity of Marine, ignoring discipline, and killing the nobleman by his own way? The teenagers were silent. Take out a cigar, light it, take a deep breath, and then spit out bursts of smoke, so that the entire face is hidden behind the smoke. So, Felix, remember how you feel today. The smoke cleared, and Garner looked around everyone, looked at the flying squirrels, Dalmesia, Dogman, Tia, and others, speaking slowly and firmly. Don't forget how you feel today, and then keep this feeling in your heart. The next thing you have to do is to grow continuously until one day, you have enough power to change this rule. In this world, the strong is respected. On this day, the teenagers saw the true side of the world and strengthened their belief in the implementation of justice in their hearts. Silently, Garner planted a seed in their hearts, and then waited for them to sprout and bloom. Result. On the same day, in the noble area of Sabayati land number 65, the world nobleman, Lord Muskaroo, was found dead in his heavily guarded mansion, separated from his head. Shake the entire Sabayati archipelago for a while. Garner led the unhappy people back to Marineford. After experiencing today's things, this group of teenagers seemed to have matured a lot. As for the dead Muskaroo, it was naturally Garna's secret handwriting. Garna did not intend to take his independent clone, an independent and unknown underground identity. He had already thought of a way out when he obtained this ability. The identity of the face is enough to have Garna. As for the clone, as the shadow behind Garna, Garna is going to make him a completely independent life. His life trajectory starts from the beginning. Maybe one day, he can play an incredible role. There is no hole card to see the light. The trump card. 2 thorn spears. Shen Ying Jahi. The golden sword aura smashed the oncoming ice spear to pieces. The final graduation assessment of the training camp has finally arrived. The results of this assessment will determine the final destination of the training camp members. The final assessment rule is 2x2 battles. The winner goes up and the loser goes down, taking turns playing against each other, and finally decides the strongest of the entire training camp. In the eyes of ordinary students, what they want to know most is that there are so many monsters in this year. The only female swordsman Glans Tia, the strongest Logia fruit ability Kuzan in Devil Fruit, and the strength of both. Elmero Garner, who has both the strength of a swordsman and a man of ability, who is the strongest in this year. On the last day of the assessment, Kuzan and Garna were the only ones who could stand in the field. Tia was defeated. The final winner will be decided between the two. The two of them had fought from morning to noon, and they were still invincible. The strength that ordinary students could hardly match for a lifetime, and what brought all the young people present was a deep sense of powerlessness. Freeze time capsule. A terrifying air condition rushed from Kuzan's feet, and quickly rushed along the ground in the direction of Garna. Even if he was far away, the biting cold still made the onlookers shiver. It's useless, Kuzan, do you forget that I can also use the power of ice? A shockwave of ice was also emitted from under Garna's feet. After Sengoku's guidance, Garna's volatility attack through hard training can not only integrate the powerful cold and lava power, but also control the direction of the volatility. It is no longer the same as at the beginning. Using itself as a medium, it sends wave attacks towards the surrounding area without blind spots. The horrible chill disappeared in the fluctuations. Hey, what's up with Garna's power, isn't he Paramecia? What's the matter, is Garna also Logia? Why is he able to emit ice power like Kuzan? The onlookers felt that their knowledge system was collapsing invisibly. I don't understand Garna's combat system, swordsmanship, physical skills, haki, and fruit ability. There seems to be no weakness. Is this really a 15-year-old boy? Monster. These two guys are fighting now, and there is no sign of fatigue. Are they not physically exhausting? Dalmesia felt that he was proud of his physical strength, and there was no dignity in front of them. You know, they have been fighting with all their strength from the morning until now. Ada thinks that Galna must have kept his hands when he is training against him. Unfortunately, he has always thought that there is not much difference between him and him. As for Kyuzan, the fool turned to Logia to practice. Chapter 47. Allah, can't I still use you? Kyuzan stopped and squinted lazily and said, as always, he didn't seem to be awake. Of course, I haven't been idle this year, Kyuzan will decide the outcome. Shave the two disappeared in place at the same time, and there was a fierce fighting in the air. Damn, the speed has increased again, and I can't keep up with their speed at all. A student shouted. Me too, can't see clearly. Same. What kind of monsters are these two? Are they really the same as us? Did I not wake up? Stormfoot. White Thunder Stormfoot. Joe Break Death Finger Pistol. Whip Iron Body. Wolf Bullet. 6 styles, fully displayed in the hands of Garna, each style is enough to split the playground under his feet. The terrifying slash, and the wind pressure from the slash completely suppressed the low-powered students around them. They were unstable and resisted. Not holding back the wind pressure, retreat. It's too exaggerated, is this really the strength that people of our age should have? There was a cry of exclamation in the howling of the wind. Garner completely dismissed his S*X, and hadn't met a well-matched opponent for a long time, which allowed him to fight so heartily. 6 styles, haki, and swordsmanship were used all at once. At this moment, the only thought in his mind was to fight Kyuzan. Garna unscrupulously promoted his aura. Kyuzan is exuding a substantial chill. I have to say that he is a well-deserved genius. The development of fruit abilities alone is enough to make him one of the first-class masters. What's more, under Garp's strict teachings, his haki and physical skills are also not weak. The name of the monster deserves it. However, once there was a figure that was enough to make him look up, and now Garna has the confidence to be on an equal footing with him, and even confident to defeat Kyuzan and become the number one in the true sense of the training camp. Garna's hand clung to the hilt again. After all, kendo was what he had really relied on all the time. Attached to Haki's fist, under Kyuzan's sight, there is nowhere to hide, and he is elementalized to avoid attacks every time, so let's take a look now. Can he hide from his sword? The long sword has not been out of its sheath, and the wild aura has been released first. In normal times, Garna has an easygoing and unrestrained temperament, and he can get along well with everyone. At this time, he was in a fighting state, and Garner, holding a treasure knife, completely revealed another side that was unknown. Ruthless, domineering, murderous aura soaring into the sky, shocking everyone around him, speechless for a long while, and an invisible sense of fear spontaneously arisen. This murderous intent. Zephyr watched the battle, his expression condensed. Good boy, such a heavy evil spirit. A vice admiral behind Zephyr spoke with a hint of appreciation in his tone. Vice admiral, who fought all the way from the iron and blood killing, couldn't help but praise him when he saw such a good seed. Galna. Seeing Garna, who was completely different from usual, Tia's heart tensed subconsciously. Kyuzan looked startled, and between raising his hands, the white chill had already gathered in his hands, as if he was also surprised by Garna's murderous aura. Without saying more, Kyuzan waved his arm and took the initiative to attack. Storm Pheasant's Mouth. The cold air suddenly became strong in the air, and the gathered cold air quickly condensed into a huge ice bird in the air, waving its wings, lifelike, carrying a terrifying cold and impact, volleyed towards Garna. Wherever we passed along the way, the ground froze and turned into ice. Garna moved and drew his knife out of its sheath. Kamikaze Ghostwood Lee. Before the ice bird came, Garna cut it out. The golden sword energy was cut out from the 3-day moon sect in his hand. When it was cut out, it was only 2 meters long. In one breath, the sword energy skyrocketed, turning into tens of meters long, and after another breath, it turned into hundreds of meters long. The violent sword aura, and the violent pheasant-billed ice bird flying from the opposite side suddenly wanted to collide in the air. In the next moment, Bing Bird was cut in half by Gui Mulai neatly. Unabated, he ran straight to Kyuzan. With a sound of chicks, the sword chi swept across Kyuzan, neatly splitting him in half. But Kyuzan used elementalization again to avoid the blow. After cutting Kyuzan's body, the remaining sword aura continued to cut behind Kyuzan. 100 meters of sword energy, like a mountain torrent, cut a huge deep trench on the ground, and then cut it on the fence around the playground. Boom! In the dull eyes of everyone, hundreds of meters high and tens of meters thick, the special wall, which claims to be able to withstand attacks from generals, was destroyed by the sword chi. The bare deep ditch along the way seemed to mock the quality of marine civil engineering silently. The huge vibrations and noises aroused the attention of the area around the training camp. What happened? Other Marines who didn't know the situation walked out of the house one after another to check the situation. Are the Vice Admirals fighting? Such a big movement. Kyuzan, who had reconstituted his body, had no time to pay attention to the movement behind him. He is very clear about the combat power of his friend. If two people are careless, they will lose the end, so at this moment, he can't help but concentrate all his attention to deal with this competition. Come on, Garna, Logia is the most powerful being. Kyuzan thought. A more icy breath came out from Kyuzan, and instantly enveloped the entire huge training field. Any artifacts in the entire field except Garna were frozen into ice by the invisible cold air. The terrifying power of Logia can be seen in Madara. Zephyr is already organizing the trainees to roll out the scope of the training ground, so as not to be affected by the battle between the two. After it was warm and pleasant, the next moment it became terribly cold. Garna's eyes swept around, as far as he could see, all of which was a world of ice and snow. He took out all the strength of Kyuzan and showed everyone present his aptitude and talent, which he was called the strongest, monster-like. Frozen fruit, in the hands of Kyuzan, who is only 20 years old, has developed the power of not losing to the general level. This is Logia's ability. Breathing can affect the scenery you see and turn them all into ice. No wonder Kyuzan after becoming admiral can freeze the entire sea in the breath. Frozen fruit, terrifying. What's more frightening is that the air is getting more and more chill. Kyuzan hovered around the ice and snow, and shouted in a deep voice. Come on, Garner. Just to my liking. Garner responded with a smile. The cold air in the air suddenly condensed into a line, and in an instant, a ripple appeared in the air, and then flashed in front of Garna, before others could react. Garna has been frozen into an ice sculpture. Ah! Tia's exclamation came from the side. Chapter 48. Kyuzan didn't relax at all. It seemed that he was sure that this attack could not hurt Garna. He stepped up abruptly, shaving, and rushed in the direction of Garna. Sure enough, as Kyuzan had expected, just in the blink of an eye, the ice sculpture that Garna had melted at a magical speed, revealing the figure in the ice sculpture. To be precise, he absorbed the power of the ice sculpture. You forget, the power of ice can't hurt me. Garna raised his head and cut out an attack. The bone-wrenching Binghan swung from the sword, the Binghan sword energy turned into a dragon in the air, and rushed towards Kyuzan with a whistling blow, smashing him into pieces. The ice fragments on the ground recovered to the Kyuzan deity at a speed that was difficult to discern with the naked eye, and hurried forward to kill. He collided heavily with Garna, who was also rushing. Shoo! The sound of breaking through the air sounded. From extreme movement to extreme silence, the figures of Kyuzan and Garna appeared at the same time. In Kyuzan's hand, an ice blade made of ice was held in his hand, blocking Garna's slaying knife. The silent shock wave shattered all the ice in the entire playground, and the roaring gust of wind made the surrounding people unstable. At this moment, Kyuzan's body, suddenly broke apart and turned into ice in the sky, shining brightly in the sun. The ice in the sky rushed towards Garner. Said your power is useless to me. Garner shouted. But seeing the ice cube that Kyuzan had turned into, the target was not him, but Sanryu Azongjin. The ice in the air surrounded Garna's right arm at an extremely fast speed, and then the temperature dropped sharply, and the entire sword body was completely wrapped in hard ice. In desperation, Garna could only let go of his hand first, letting the three Sun Moon sect approach, and fell to the ground. Ding! The sound of the hard ice hitting the ground awakened all the people who were watching mesmerizingly. The two had a series of swift and refined attacks just now, and everyone else was dazzled, but it was Kyuzan who was better at it, and went down first and knocked out Garna's weapon. If the swordsman loses the sword in his hand, the combat effectiveness will not drop a little bit. If Haki can't touch Logia's entity, he can't cause damage to Kyuzan. For the rest, relying on physical skills and fruit abilities, is Garna still Kyuzan's opponent? It's a pity that Garner was a bad move. Kyuzan took the lead. It's hard to turn around. A rear admiral officer behind Zephyr asserted. Not necessarily. Although he has lost his weapon and his strength has declined, Kyuzan seems to have nothing to do with him. At best, he is deadlocked. Vice Admiral, who is optimistic about Garner, interjected. Next look. Zephyr said. So everyone continued to observe the battle in the field. Without weapons, do you want to fight? Kyuzan's eyes were solemn. Shave, Garner answered him with action. Iron body heavy step wolf. Pug. 5 icicles shot from Kyuzen's hand, trying to freeze Garner in it, but they were crushed by his iron body. What a difficult opponent. Even if he loses the sword, Garner is still the top 3 masters in the training camp based on physical skills alone. Finger pistol, tempest kick, iron body, he is handy, and he has played superbly in his hands, and has completely obtained the essence of the 6 types. Any ordinary moves, used in his hands, combined with a strong physique and fruiting ability, the power is still earth-shattering. Boom boom boom. The falling down walls around the playground suffice to show that Garner, who has lost his weapon, has not fallen in combat power at all, and even the lethality of his range skills has increased unabated. Offensive, defensive, speed, the 6 types of secrets were interspersed by Garner. With the invisible wave of power, Kyuzen was fighting extremely hard. The alarm bell in his mind kept ringing, and he did not dare to relax his vigilance. If it hadn't been for the same excellent experience, which allowed him to avoid the opponent's attack every time, he would have been injured in Garner's hands. Compared to pure physical skills, he is indeed inferior to Garner. And putting aside weapons and fighting purely with physical skills, Garner found that his understanding of mental and physical skills was deeper. The words taught by Sengoku flowed from his heart one by one, and some of the essences that he had not understood before seemed to have a deeper understanding. Sentiment. Ice Age. Kyuzen's wide range of attacks used, and the entire training camp suddenly turned into a world of ice and snow again. Even if he was not afraid of cold attacks, Garner's attack was still slightly affected, and the offensive slowed down. Kyuzen took advantage of the momentum and launched a counterattack. Boom boom boom. When the two played against each other, the shaking continued, and the huge force gradually shattered the entire playground, and the foundation began to sink. These two monsters, do you want to completely destroy this place? Dalmizia looked at the flying squirrel next to her, her eyes were slightly dull, and she muttered to herself. The same sluggish flying squirrel did not hear Dalmizia's words at all. Storm Guy Bird. Storm. Joe Break. Vellay. Huang Lian. The 6 types of profound meanings, in the hands of Garner, were completely unconsumed, hitting Kyuzen overwhelmingly. Kyuzen's figure turned into afterimages, constantly changing directions to avoid. But Garner pressed harder step by step, following him closely, following him like a shadow, with large slashes, crisscrossing, cutting out huge cracks and deep grooves on the ground. The attack was extremely tight, there was almost no gap between the front and back, and there was no room for Kyuzen to escape. Seeing that Kyuzen could only dodge constantly to escape from the ocean of slashing. While Kyuzen was evading the slash, Garner moonwalk launched and flashed behind Kyuzen instantly, and the armed attack contained in one blow was about to hit Kyuzen. The outcome seems to be decided in this move. Suddenly, Garner's eyes condensed, and he quickly stopped the attack, ready to withdraw. Absolutely 0 degrees. Kyuzen's low voice came, and he turned around as if he had been prepared. The cold and gloomy icy air gushed from Kyuzen. The white cold air surged in all directions, turning everything into ice and snow. World. The air was frozen, the slash was frozen, and Garner's body was once again frozen into an ice sculpture by the absolute low temperature. Is it over? Kyuzen thought to himself as he looked at the ice sculpture in front of him. Is it over? Everyone around also thought. After a breath, the ice sculpture did not move. It's over. Kyuzen breathed a sigh of relief and relaxed. It's over. Flying Squirrel and others thought in their hearts with a sigh. And at the moment when Kyuzen relaxed, at the moment when everyone thought that Garner's defeat was set, there was another wave of trouble in the field. A sword braving the flames was silently inserted behind Kyuzen. The power of horrible lava exuded waves of waves. The armament haki contained in it temporarily restricted Kyuzen's elementalization ability. At the same time, the ice sculpture in front of Kyuzen burst, and Garner, who was originally thought to be frozen, broke out of the ice unscathed, ready to take a blow, and hit Kyuzen's chest heavily. Chapter 49. Boom. Kyuzen, who had lost his elementalization ability, was vomiting blood from the heavy blow, and his breath instantly became sluggish, and he was already seriously injured. On the other hand, Garner was calm and relaxed, and his fighting spirit was high. Who is it? Kyuzen had only this question in his mind at this time. If Garner was in front of him, who was the one who injured him in the back? A series of changes in the field stunned the others. Before the breath, the victory and defeat seemed to have been divided, and after the breath, the victory and defeat were reversed again. Who is it? This is the question in everyone's heart, who suddenly appeared in the court, who was the one who cooperated with Garner to make the key blow? Garner's offside assistants? People with wide open minds have already begun to diverge their thinking. The collision of fire and ice forces produced a large amount of water vapor, which completely enveloped the center of the training ground. After a while, the mist receded, and a strange figure appeared in front of everyone. A person, or a humanoid creature. Standing behind Kyuzan is a humanoid mecha creature in the image of red armor. The head is completely covered by armor. The position of the eyes is filled with soaring flames. He is holding a blue samurai sword in his hand and is enveloped all over. In the faint red flame, standing there, you can feel the hot breath rushing toward your face. What is this? Dalmizia blurted out, asking the question everyone wanted to ask. Facing Dalmizia's question, Garner lightly returned, "This is my partner, you can call it the Red Chariot." "Your knife?" Zephyr keenly discovered the crux of the matter. "Yes, Zephyr instructor," Garner admitted with a smile. "Knife? What kind of knife?" The rest of the people looked confused. Where did his sword go? Hearing Zephyr's words, the person with a quick mind turned to look at Garner's previous weapon that was shot down by Kyuzan. Hey? Why did his knife disappear? More and more people discovered the anomaly. The big sharp knife that was previously frozen by Kyuzan and Garner voluntarily discarded the 3-day Moonzong approach, did not lie quietly on the spot. I don't know when. A round hole appeared in the ice block that had frozen it. Looking through the hole, there was nothing inside. The knife is gone. When did it happen? Could it be that Garner retrieved it during the battle? Then what is this sword-wielding mecha? More and more doubts emerged from the hearts of everyone. Even Zephyr only noticed that the humanoid creature that stabbed Kyuzan seemed to be related to Garner's sharp knife, and the others were also confused. Seeing Kyuzan, who has been traumatized and whose combat power has dropped sharply, Garner is full of thoughts. The Red Chariot, inspired by Sengoku, combined with the previous development ideas of Volatility Fruit, Garner developed the ultimate move, a stand-in. Substitute is a fictitious superpower, a powerful image produced by the life energy in the human body. The creation of a substitute must meet some special conditions. The appearance of the wave fruit gave Garner the greatest foundation for realizing this idea. Through the wave fruit, the special wave that fits the human body is developed, and then the wave Qigong is researched. Through the vibration of the body wave at the same frequency, it strengthens the source of life and achieves the effect of strengthening the body. In Garner's cognition, ripples represent the energy of life, and the substitute is the manifestation of human spiritual power. When the life energy of human beings is strong to a certain extent, they can use a special transformation ritual to attach their own spiritual will to an object of the same frequency through the same ripple frequency, borrowing from the object to form, and reaching the spirit. To change the realm of matter is to act as a substitute. Ripple Qigong increases the life energy of the physical body, and the life energy sublimates to a limit, stimulating the growth of spiritual power. The clone experience copied by the clone fruit, and the fluctuating fruit makes the spiritual power and the wave frequency of the 3-day moon zone near a perfect fit. The three are one, allowing the conceptual ability of the substitute to appear in the world of One Piece for the first time. And the initial discarding of the 3-day moon zongjin had always been in Garner's plan. Abandoning familiar weapons, relying only on physical skills and abilities, it is easy to remain undefeated, but it is undoubtedly more difficult to win, and Kyuzan's vigilance is virtually relaxed. In the fiercest moment of the battle, the Red Chariot formed by the fusion of the spirit of Garner, Mikazuki Zongjin, and copying Sakazuki's magma power became the key to victory. Facts have proved that Garner was right. The Red Chariot did not disappoint him. When it was first shown in front of the world, he achieved an impressive record. Although he relaxed his vigilance, Kyuzan, who is not weak in Grandmaster Logia's ability and physique haki, is not a character that cats and dogs can easily attack. Timing and strength are indispensable. Naturally, these Garners would not tell the truth, and at any time, do not easily reveal their trump cards, because his father Hortusha taught him from an early age. Allah, is it the fruit ability? Kyuzan, sitting on the ground, coughing up blood, said with a relaxed expression. Although he didn't understand the principle of this trick, it was obviously a new trick developed by Garner's fruit ability. The two blows containing magma and haki did not cause much damage to him, but it also reduced his combat power. In the face of Garner in his heyday, and strange mechas whose abilities are unknown but obviously incompatible with his attributes, Kuzan asked himself how difficult it would be to remain undefeated. You won, Garna. Kuzan stretched out his hand. Next time you are prepared, it won't be easy to win you again. Shaking his head, Garna pulled up Kuzan. By the way, is your fruit really a fluctuating fruit? It's ice and magma, can the paramecia fruit develop like this? Kuzan asked suspiciously. So, you don't know the truth about the world. Garner stinks in an instant, and Kuzan almost couldn't resist giving him a pheasant mouth. Zephyr greeted him, yes, you two performed very well, especially you, Garna, your new ability is a good direction, well developed, and the future is boundless. You praised, Zephyr instructor. Garner cried politely. Well, this graduation assessment is over, first place, Garner. Second place, Kuzan. Third place, Tia. Injured personnel, go to the infirmary for treatment first, and those who are not injured stay to clean up the venue. 3 days later, you will announce your internship. Zephyr announced loudly. Headquarters, Sengoku office, saw the assessment results sent. Sengoku was a little surprised. Galna defeated Kuzan. Even if he confirmed that the people below did not dare to lie in this regard, he still felt a little unbelievable. Although he is very optimistic about this little guy, but due to the limitations of his age and the difficulty of those with Logia ability, Sengoku is actually more optimistic about Garna's future than the present. Wow, ha ha ha, this kid Garna is really nice. A loud laughter interrupted Sengoku's thoughts. Chapter 50. Garp, who had just rushed back to the headquarters from New World to report on his job, grabbed the documents in Sengoku's hand while eating senbei and looked at it. The kid Kuzan, relying on fruit ability all day long, is not enterprising in physical training, this time let me give a good lesson, ha ha ha. Garp laughed very freely. See clearly, it was Garna who used Sakazuki's ability to defeat Kuzan before he defeated him. Sengoku was furious when he saw Garp's rude face. The head staff crane sitting next to him, completely ignored the battle between the two people, and said thoughtfully, compared with this, I am very curious about his ability. He has shown fluctuating and freezing power successively, and now there is magma. Is it a coincidence? What do you mean? His abilities can imitate the abilities of the outside world. Sengoku keenly discovered what Crane meant. This possibility is not ruled out. At least Kuzan and Sakazuki have been in contact with him at the moment, but according to the fruit information he reported when he came to the headquarters, compared to the devil fruit illustration, it is indeed the fluctuating fruit. The wave force that the kid showed in the training camp is indeed similar to Whitebeard's. I can't mistake that. When it comes to business, Garp is serious. The last time volatile fruit appeared, after all, was 200 years ago. When the capable person at that time just showed harm, he was suppressed by Marine, so our record is not particularly detailed. Maybe volatile fruit still has some unknown abilities. Pushing his glasses, Sengoku once again looked at the information in Galna in his hand. After investigation by the Ministry of Intelligence, Garna was innocent and his resume before the age of 14 was clear. This ruled out the possibility of other forces infiltrating Marine. Sengoku, you just think too much, such a good seed, who is willing to send it out as an undercover agent? Don't think so dark all day, look at me, learn from me, the representative of Guanghuizheng. Garp is beside he clasped his nostrils and sneered at Sengoku. Sengoku's anger rose uncontrollably, I didn't want you to guard in New World, what are you doing back? New World is so boring, I let Sakazuki replace me on top. Golden Lion has been quiet recently. I'm going to hunt Roger, who is staying patiently at the base. Garp said indifferently. After the graduation examination, it is the internship assignment, right? Split Garner or Kuzan on my boat. These two boys are quite appetizing to me. As for the little girl, you can assign it to Zayahi, ha ha ha. Talking about business, Sengoku resisted the urge to beat Garp. Their strength is not enough to chase Roger for the time being, I have other arrangements. Sengoku refused. If you don't experience wind and rain, how can you grow into a real man of the sea? Don't protect them too much. Garp is serious. According to intelligence, traces of Roger were recently found in East Blue. This man, leaving New World and returning to East Blue, may be planning something. Since you are back, go to East Blue and stare at Roger. A punch in the palm of his hand, I said why I didn't find Roger's trace in New World recently. Garp said dumbly. So, are you serious about chasing Roger? I don't even know where Roger has gone. Sengoku felt that the veins on his forehead were violent again. Next, Brother Kong will guard the headquarters. I will go to New World and watch Golden Lion and Whitebeard, Kuzan, and Garna. After all, I am still young. Before I grow up, I will guard the paradise. In order to shelter Marine from the wind and rain. A whole garp, eat my senbei again. Big Buddha shockwave. It hurts, Sengoku, you're serious, Iron Fist. Seeing the two people who were not agreeing and fought, he shook his head helplessly, got up and walked out of the room, and closed the door intimately. 3 days later, everyone in the training camp quickly assembled in the whistle of the morning exercise. Compared with the first time in the training camp, everyone's spirits have been completely renewed, as if they were completely reborn. Seeing this scene, Zephyr nodded in satisfaction, and then said, "From today, your training in this department has come to an end. What can be taught to you has been taught to you, and what is needed next is your own practice. The specific step you can take in the future depends on your own efforts." Zephyr's words, as always, went straight and talked as they were. The training camp has a 2-year cycle. You will be taught various fighting skills and cultural knowledge in the first 1.5 years, and then after the corresponding assessment, based on your performance, you will be assigned to each branch in the next 6 months. Internship with the stationed area. After half a year, the headquarter will evaluate you again based on your performance and merits, and finally award the corresponding military ranks. It's a dragon or a worm. It depends on your own performance. I hope you can learn and apply the knowledge you have learned during the training camp this 1.5 years. After listening to Zephyr's words, the teenagers below were all excited. Far away from home, 1.5 years of hard work, for what? For the faith in their hearts and higher status and power. Now they finally have the opportunity to make a fight. Of course they are excited. This performance will be a comprehensive factor in many aspects. Your leadership, combat effectiveness, military merits you have established in the past 6 months, and the comments of the branch or resident person in charge of you will be included in the assessment factor, so don't have any fluke psychology. Understand? Military merit? It should be regarded as military merit to catch the bounty criminal. Garner felt his chin and thought. Looking at the excited young man below, Zephyr reminded again, "I know that some of you plan to hunt down the reward criminals, but you must remember that the actual combat is different from your usual training, and the brutality of the reward criminals will be far beyond your estimation. I don't want you to become hot-headed and do things beyond your ability for military merit. Do you understand?" "Understood." The teenagers responded loudly. "Next, announce your internship." Elmero Garna, promoted to the rank of Major, report to the G2 branch. Kuzan, got promoted to the rank of Major, and report to the G3 branch. Glans Tia, promoted to the rank of Major, report to the General Staff. Dalmizia, Captain of the Headquarters, report to the G11 branch. Felix, promoted to Captain, report to the Gaia Island branch. Doberman. G2 branch. Garna raised his eyelids, slightly surprised at the result. Although I have never been to the G2 branch, I have heard of it in the headquarters for so long. Except for the G1 branch stationed in New World, the G2 branch can be said to be the branch closest to New World. Currently guarding the G2 branch is known as the Marine Monster, and Marine 3, Admiral, Kizaru, and Polo Solino who will suppress this sea in the future. In the comics, there is a man whose personality is unpredictable and his strength is a mystery. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel so you are notified of future uploads. You can find the next parts in the playlist visible on the screen or on my channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.